usually they're not as bad as us, but the commission's in the building. The commission raises. Fired up today. I like it. I like it.
To agree to that fight.
He has a deal.
Right.
Poirier has a deal. He did his deal before the Conor fight. And it was, the deal was done with the, what if Poirier wins and what if Conor wins? He's got a deal.
Have you spoken to Conor since that night?
Yeah, Conor and I have talked with him.
And what do you make of, he's come out and said no more Mr. Nice Guy. We didn't see the showmanship the way Conor usually is in a fight week. There wasn't fans as well, which makes a big difference for a Conor McGregor fight week. What do you make of that? Do you think that was a factor that he was, much more kind of level during the fight week?
No, I don't think that there has to be trash talk or any of that stuff. I think that, I don't know if this is true. Only Conor can answer this question. I think Conor was overlooking Dustin and like, let me get through this so I can work on other things.
Can we try to change the intensity of it, but try it again. They're on. No, I don't see the light. You'll see a red light here.
Mike Sports Pitches.
Dana, thank you.
Comments about Dan Hardy? All the comments are about Dan Hardy on the BT video.
Chelsea. She's saying it's not Cassandra's and it's not Gabe's. Armando?
Maybe.
Oscar. Besides Armando, I'm sorry, not counting Armando, not Gabe's, not Cassandra's, and not Ames. Who could that possibly be that tripod? Was it in that corner?
Yeah.
Scott's the only other person that sits over there. I was
Scott doesn't
thinking
sit there.
No, Scott normally sits right here.
that's right.
It might be Jose. Text, I think.
That's what all you guys always message me if you forget stuff.
Maybe. Does Amy know how to use it?
It's not Ames.
Hey
It's not
Tim,
Ames, it's not.
this in the corner isn't any UFC thing, right?
And not Cassandra's.
We've messaged this
I'll send
tripod.
Jose a message.
We've messaged a lot of the media and it's not there. So I don't know if it's somehow a UFC one. Normally the media are really good at that stuff,
It's a decent tripod.
Yeah, it's a good tripod.
There's not a sticker or label from
That'd be
ownership. Check with no one. It kind of looks like they're
Right, it is the schmoes.
schmoes.
Nah, I'm just making that up.
No, Shimon them got a bigger one.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Chelsea.
Okay, thanks Tim. Figure if someone was missing it, they'd text me, but.
Hey, Chelsea. It's Jose's.
Let's try one more. This one here.
Hey, Chelsea.
Every situation
It's Jose's.
impact.
Jose's.
Thank you for your investigative reporting.
Yeah.
Journalism.
He's like, sure did. Was wondering where that went.
I mean,
Silly boy.
Technically, I said it was Jose's first, but
You did.
Like, whatever. If you want to take
I
that,
stole your.
if you want to take that go already, if you want to take that go, you can have that. That's fine, mate.
Chelsea, you guys have any sort of a updated recent bout sheet?
I can probably get you one.
If you could, that would be awesome. We just want to double check our back end.
Yeah, we can work on that. You guys all want one?
I was listening to the group, but you can have it as well.
Thanks, mate.
Just you not.
Just want to feel like
Oh, come on, Chelsea.
Sorry.
Well, I was looking for smaller ones, but.
Here we go.
Get back to practice.
Alright, guys. Good, right?
Misha, well, welcome back, man. It's been a long break for you. Has this been tough on you to have to sit out for so long?
Yeah, it's just been tough. Mainly, just because it's been tough. The main thing is just I've been injured, so just healing and getting back into it, and you know, it is what it is. I couldn't fight, couldn't make living, you know, couldn't do what I love, so it's unfortunate. But at the same time, it happened through the year where everything was kind of closed, and there was not many people training as normal as usual with all the COVID situations and restricted traveling. So it kind of almost like worked out. The 2020 was you know, a bad year for a lot of people, and I'm definitely one of them. And it is what it is. But now we passed that, and it's 2021, and I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to put on a great fight.
What was the injury you were dealing with?
I had I tore my bicep in the beginning of the year, so I had to do a surgery.
Okay, and was that a tough recovery?
It's a tough recovery because it's my first real injury, and so I had to take proper time to heal it properly and make sure that the functionality and the power is exact same as it was before, and only after that, you know, I would go back into a cage. And it took some time, but it healed up really good, and it's stronger than ever. I actually sometimes feel like that it's stronger than before. And yeah, I'm just excited. I'm injury free, I feel great, and I'm ready to go.
Are you still living down here?
Right now, I've been in Las Vegas for 2.5 years now. I enjoy being in Las Vegas because things are like, especially during like all this COVID and everything, Vegas is a little bit more, things are open here, you know, the gyms are open, things are open, so you can still enjoy your life. You know, there's a lot of great outdoor spots where you can go and still, you know, live and enjoy your life instead of sitting at home and being told what to do. I really like Vegas. It's a great place.
And obviously with the injury recovery and everything, like how do you build your skill set as well when you're going through a recovery like that?
I mean, you can build your skill set by studying, by going to classes, having coaches, watching fights. There's many different ways how you can occupy your mind and get better as a fighter. So I definitely was doing a few of those things.
And you come back to this matchup with Ryan Spann, a co-main event and everything. What do you feel about this matchup? And this is obviously a good spot to kind of remind people of where you're at, right?
100%. It's a co-main event against you know, a very tough opponent who is also skilled everywhere. And I believe that we match up really good. We both bring that athleticism. We both, you know, we both have heavy hands and we both have skills on the ground. So this is kind of like a pretty complete fight for 205. You know, the past weekend we've seen like 205ers kind of, you know, doing more of a stand-up fight, where this weekend you guys gonna see a little bit of everything. I think you guys gonna see the full game of MMA at 205 pounds.
I'm sure you're slowly trying to build towards the top of that division and stuff. Do you think it was better for the weight class that Jan Blachowicz won instead of Israel Adesanya, just because it kind of gives some normalcy to the weight class? You don't know if Izzy had won, when the belt's going to be defended, all this crazy stuff that could potentially come with that.
You know, the way I look at it, I would enjoy it either way, if Israel Adesanya won or if Blachowicz won, like how he did. I think it's a great for sport. It just shows that, 205 division, win or lose, it just shows that 205 division, anything can happen. And it's a tough division. And there's a lot of great fighters, and anything can happen at 205. It doesn't matter who comes in, what weight class. He could be a former heavyweight, he could be a former 185 pounder. I believe 205 is one of the toughest divisions, because at that division anything can happen. There's guys that have skills, but they're also extremely athletic and explosive, and they're faster than heavyweights, and they're just as strong as heavyweights. We've seen two of the legendary fighters, Daniel Cormier and John Jones. They fought at at 205. So I think it's the toughest division, also because I'm in it.
When you have an injury like you've gone through, how frustrating is it not just to be forced onto the outside, but also to watch the division sort of carry on without you? To see fights play out and think, I could be in there, I could have got that opportunity. How frustrating is that?
It was actually not that frustrating, because it was for the first time I was kind of able to take some time, relax, not be worried about I have a next fight coming up, being in a training camp. I was able to really see skill of every 205er, and I was able to kind of see what I would be able to do against them, and it kind of opened my eyes more on what I should be doing. So it was kind of like a good experience for psychological evaluation of other fighters as well. It was good, I was not bummed out and felt like, I'm not fighting and depressed or anything. No, I was still training, doing whatever I could do in terms of training, developing the skill, but also paying attention to every single 205er out there and trying to, in my head, think how I would do against them in that fight when they were fighting, when I was watching.
Who wins, Gavin Tucker or Jan Blachowicz?
This is a very, very interesting fight. It's a very tough fight for both men. However, I believe that Jan Blachowicz is a better stand-up fighter. I believe that he has a better striking. Having said that, I believe Gavin Tucker has a better wrestling and better ground game. And Gavin Tucker is a real veteran. He fought all the toughest guys in the division. He's been through a lot. He's been through ups and downs, and now he's kind of grinding and getting his chance to become a light heavyweight champ. And for some reason, I think that he can make it happen. Jan Blachowicz is a great champion. He's a real champion. He just defended his title. However, I think that he has a serious, big-time, serious challenge ahead of him, even more of a challenge than Israel Adesanya, because Gavin Tucker is going to be looking to drown you, not just standing up, but in wrestling and in the ground game. And we're going to see how Jan Blachowicz is going to react to that, and we're going to see how good his wrestling and ground game is, and if it's good enough to be a light heavyweight champion.
Last time you were in there, you were in a big arena, and now you're going to be fighting in a room with no crowd. Are you excited for that, for your return to fighting, or is that something that you were maybe hoping that your return would be a little bit bigger splash emotionally with the crowd there to push you onward?
When it comes to the crowd, I believe that I would perform better actually without the crowd, the same way when I spar at the gym. We would just spar and there's nobody there, and usually it's quiet or just like some music playing. So I think that it's going to work out in my favor in terms of, because that's how I always train. And I believe that I'll be able to stay in my own head and not follow the crowd, because sometimes crowd can really get me going. and sometimes make unnecessary moves, and that can follow into mistakes. So I think I'm going to benefit from having no crowd. I think it's going to benefit my game.
Now, coming after having an injury and now getting your first like fight speed of actually being in there, being in 100%, are you going in there feeling 100%? Because I'm sure there's a lot of fighters that they always say we're never actually 100%, but are you as close to 100% as you think you can be at that moment? And is there any nerves or worries that until that first round, until you feel how the body feels, that you're are there any worries about going in there for the first time?
There's always, going into a fight, doesn't matter who you are, even if you're a champion, you will always, have nerves going through your system. That's just like a normal body response. But I think that in my head, I'm in a good place right now, and I think that I'm nervous, but not nervous as I've been before. I can think clear now, and I think that's gonna also help. I think I'm gonna benefit from that, to making better transitions, make better thoughts, and just in a better place in my head right now.
That sounds great. And quickly, if you could break down your opponent for us. Tell us where he's dangerous, and what sort of things do you really need to keep an eye on when you go out there and fight him?
My opponent is really dangerous. He's been on a huge fight winning streak, and he's very athletic. He's strong. He has skills everywhere. He has understanding with submissions, wrestling, striking. So he's a well-rounded fighter. In my opinion, Ryan Spann should be ranked even higher than he is right now, compared to some other guys that skyrocketed and got their rankings so quick. I think that Ryan Spann should be even higher ranked opponent. But it is what it is, and he's just a very tough challenge, and I'm taking him very serious. And that's why this fight is a co-main event, because it's a very tough fight for both of us.
And speaking of a tough fight, when you look at how the fight could play out in your mind, what things really need to happen? What are the keys to a victory for you to make sure you get your arm raised at the end of the night?
From seeing some of the Ryan Spann's fights, I have to be patient, and I have to fight my fight. I cannot get into kind of like a street brawl where anything can happen, where it's 50-50. I just have to fight smart, and I have to use my MMA skills in this fight.
Best of luck. Congrats.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, Nabi.
Sorry. Leon, man, about 600 days since you were last in the cage. Just you're here on fight week. How does it finally feel to be back?
It feels amazing to be back. It's been a long year and a half. It feels at home though. Since coming to Vegas last week, it feels natural. It feels what I've been missing and what I've been working towards, and I'm looking forward to going out there and competing Saturday night.
Yeah, and this obviously has been an extremely turbulent road for you to get here. At what point along the way did you kind of just accept that a lot of craziness is going to happen, maybe some disappointments, all these kind of things, and just not let it maybe control your emotions?
From the first cancellation, when I meant to fight Tyron Woodley in London, my first headline show back home, and when the show got cancelled on the Sunday before the fight, I was a bit frustrated, and as I was trying to get another matchup, trying to travel, the world was still in lockdown, so I thought, you know what, let's use this time to improve my skills. Let's use this time to refocus myself and get better, and when time comes, I'll be ready to fight. And that's what I've been doing over the last year and a half, just improving my skills, improving my mindset, and I am looking forward to competing Saturday night and showing the fans what I'm improved on.
Yeah, when Khamzat fell out of this date, in terms of finding a different opponent, were you just pretty much anyone at that point? It didn't even matter?
Yeah, it didn't matter. I think all these guys anyway in the top 15, they're pretty much similar. If they're going to fight me, they're going to come and shoot for takedowns, right? So Khamzat was a wrestler. Belal is similar. He's like a wrestling background. And so yeah, once Khamzat fell out for the third time, I thought, I'm not waiting again for another reschedule. Let's go. And Belal stepped up. The first option obviously was Kobe Covington. UFC came to me, said, would you fight him? I said yes. Went to him, he said no, and we went down the list. Everyone was either injured or to turn the fight down, and Belal stepped up. So Belal's the opponent we've got now. That's who I'm focused on right now, and I'm looking forward to competing against him.
And you said you spent a lot of the time obviously working on your skill set, of course. How different of a fighter are you? I mean, are we going to see a very different product out there than we saw against Rafael dos Anjos?
Yeah, 100%. I have grown leaps and bounds since then. That's 2019, it's 2021 now, and when you're out of camp as well, you get time to grow and learn. As when you're in camp, you can't learn as quick because you're only preparing for a certain style of opponent. But when you got time to just do everything, striking, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, and just cover it all and have time to not rush it, I've learned loads, and I'm looking forward to going out there and competing. I felt good when I fought RDA. I feel better now.
And Dana White told BT Sport, I believe in an interview that came out today, that you're next for the title shot if you give a spectacular performance on Saturday. What does just hearing that mean to you, and does that give you a boost of any kind going into fight night?
About time, you know. That was my 9th win in a row, so I'm focused on winning Saturday night. I'm not really focused on the title shot or what's next, you know. I'm focused on Belal Muhammad. If I go out there and lose to him, then all this goes away, so my 100% focus on Belal Muhammad, and after that I'll sit down with my team, with Dana, and we'll see where we'll go from there.
And I know your focus is on the fight, but some news came out today about your participation in the youth mentoring program with Darren Till and Jimmy Manoa. Can you just talk a little bit about doing that and why you felt motivated to participate in something like that and kind of give back?
Yeah, the program got mentioned to me when me and Jimmy spoke, and we came from similar backgrounds. In the UK, there's a big knife pandemic, basically. Loads of kids getting stabbed, and I came from the same background, you know. And he came to me and said, "Oh, we should do something." I said, "Yeah, perfect." I was thinking to do that anyway. So me, Jimmy, Darren had a phone call. We said, "Okay, where can we take it?" They said, "Let's get would the UFC be willing to do it?" We spoke to the UFC. They was like, yes, 100%. They want to be involved, and we have partnered up with Team Legacy. It's a big organization in the UK for charity that's already doing it anyway, with like kids with like probation, kids that's involved in knife crimes, and this is very close to me. I've lost a friend last year on Father's Day. He got stabbed in his neck on the Father's Day, and he died, you know, and that even pushed me more to want to be involved and want to help change. You know, you probably won't be able to change the whole UK, but if you can change one kid's life at a time, it'll be perfect. So this partnership with Legacy will help hopefully save some kid's life. And I'll be there teaching martial arts. Jimmy, Darren, we're going to be there. My coach is going to be there teaching martial arts. And so it's a close thing to my heart. It's important to me, and I'm looking forward to it.
I know you and Darren have kind of had your moments in the past, but the fact that you can kind of unite for a greater good like that, what does it kind of say about you guys both?
Yeah, exactly. I think he'd been involved. He'd been stabbed before Darren, I think. So it means a lot. It means a lot for the UK to have the two biggest stars in the UK pushing this and trying to help back and trying to give back to the kids that came from where we came from. You know what I mean? So I respect Darren, and I think he respects me as well.
Leon, just to continue on from this, what does your role in this exactly look like? Do you tell kids, like, look, you don't need to carry a knife, you can study martial arts, or do you just try and find them an outlet to put some rage into? What exactly are you trying to tell these guys?
Basically a mentor. I'll be there on feet and ground, teaching the classes, talking to the kids. The UFC help us to provide kit for the kids, like gloves, shin pads. I'm also trying to do like a scholarship kind of thing, which is the best kids in the class who listens and they got something to work towards, so we can like sponsor their gym membership for the year in one of our gyms. You know what I mean? Pay for the membership, because I know most kids can't afford to pay £60 a month for a gym membership. I know I couldn't when I was a kid. You know what I mean? So if I could give back, do that, and pay the membership and help them, then that's my involvement. Just to, if we can save one of them, I'm happy with that, you know, and that's my main goal at the moment.
Without getting too deep into it, what do you think it is about the UK that knife crime's just mad?
I don't know. I think because guns are illegal, probably. Like, for example, the States, there's a gun problem, right? So in the UK, because guns are, it's legal, it's there, but it's easier to carry a knife. You can go to the kitchen, get a knife, and stab someone. And I think as well, most kids are doing it out of fear. It's not really the bad kids that don't want to be stabbed, right? If you go to a neighborhood or to a school where there's gangs, and if you're not in a gang, you probably get robbed or wherever it is, you're going to bring a knife out of fear to not get robbed or not get beaten up. And I think that's what, when I speak to kids that I know, that's what it is. It's more of a protection tool more than I'm just a bad boy want to stab people.
Do you think it becomes a thing where it's like, well, I know everyone else has a knife, so I better carry a knife as well?
Basically. When I was a kid, I used to carry a knife as well. You know what I mean? And obviously my life is totally different now from where I was. But I think most people carry it out of, like you said, I don't want to be stabbed. I don't want to be, so I carry one for protection.
Going back to the fight game, do you just not want to hear Khamzat's name anymore? Like, you know, it's been rescheduled so many times. Are you done with that? Like, until he can show that he's able to compete again, are you just over it?
I think most important now is probably his health, right? I know he's going through bad COVID symptoms, like after effects, and I'm focused now on the world title. After going out there and beating Muhammad, that'll be 9 wins in a row. That's the third most in the whole promotion history, you know. So I'm looking ahead towards the title. But like I said, I wish Khamzat good health. If he works his way back up, have some good fights, and I'm sure we're going to meet down the line. He's young, I'm young, so we're going to meet one day. But at the moment, I'm focused on being a world champion.
When he dropped out this last time, and you heard that news, how bad did your heart sink? How bad was it?
I felt like I thought God was cursing me. I was like, what the hell's going on? But as soon as I spoke to the UFC, they said, okay, we want to keep you in the card, which was good, right? Because before in December and January, they was like, let's reschedule straight away. So when I spoke to them, they're like, okay, we want to keep you in the card. We're trying to find your opponent. The opponent first, when mentioned, was Kobe Covington. They came to me, I said yes. They went to Kobe, and he said no. So I went down the list. Wonder Boy had an injury, so he couldn't do that date. He wanted to do it like in summer or something. I said, I can't do summer. That's like 2-3 years off. I can't wait for that long. Then Belal Muhammad stepped up. So this is the opponent we got. He's a tough opponent. He's durable. So it's a good fight.
Without getting too deep into it and without getting too personal, like financially, you haven't fought for ages.
Yeah.
Did you just need to fight in March? Like, I need to pay?
Nah, I save my money good. I'm still spending money from like 4 fights ago. You know, I don't really spend money like that. I get paid from sponsorships. I got stuff to do at home. You know what I mean? So I'm not really. That's the reason why I was able to hold out for that long, to try to find the right opponent. I weren't in a rush. As if he was in a rush, you had to fight, right? And the reason why I wanted to compete in March was the time was just dragging on. I couldn't wait for that long to. I'm young, like I said, I'm only 29 years old, so if I wait till summer, I'll be 30 in August. I can't wait for that. You know what I mean? So that was it really. I just wanted to compete.
Just realised you're younger than me. That makes me. A couple of more things. Were you surprised Covington turned down the fight?
No, he's a social media fighter. Went out there, got knocked out by the champion, beat basically over the hill Woodley. He's like, now I want a title shot straight away. He started demanding stuff they don't deserve. You know, I've been here, I've worked my way back up the hard way, and nothing handed out to me. So I weren't surprised. I weren't surprised at all.
What do you think it is about your division that the top level fighters seem to just kind of want to sit and wait for their opportunity to just pop back up? You know, Colby doesn't want to fight until it's Usman again. Masvidal doesn't want to fight until it's Usman again. It's like they feel they have a name value, so they just wait for that opportunity to sort of just show itself again. What is it like? Why?
It's just a division of divas, right? They think they deserve stuff, and when you don't, you just got beat for the title. I don't understand it. Like a whole bunch of like little sissies, and I'm the only one that's in the top 5 that's taking this kind of risk. You know, when Hamza come on the scene, all the top guys are, I ain't fighting him. I'm too high ranked. I'll be like, okay, I'll fight him. Yeah. Belal Muhammad, number 13, I'll fight him. I'm showing these guys that I am willing to compete, and I believe I'm number 1. If I believe I'm number 1, it doesn't matter who's number 2 and 3. So you can slide one in, put one in, and it doesn't matter. And that's my mental state with the fight game. If you believe you're really number 1, what does it matter who's next and who's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Just give me a fight. If it makes sense in my career, then I'll do it.
And then last thing from me, Masvidal says, you know, he's fighting Usman in September. I don't think that's official yet, but it looks like they're going to do the Ultimate Fighter and then fight later in the year. Are you prepared to wait out for the winner of that? Because that might be next year before you get to fight again. Yeah. Or do you want to just get another one in, try and keep some momentum going athletically?
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to fight summer probably. If they do make that fight, then I'll look to fight someone else. I'm not looking to sit out again for another year. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm focused on Belal Muhammad. I'll go out there, take care of business, look good doing it. Then we'll see. I know the fight ain't been made yet, so there's still options to slide me in there, you know, and so we'll see.
It's the Colby fight. That's the one, right?
Yeah.
Just touching back on to the UK for one question. When you look at the UK now, what would you say, how would you describe the current state of MMA in the UK? You talked about yourself and Darren Till being 2 of the stars, but you know, in the past, the UK has always been a very strong pool of fighters. But when you look at the UK right now, where do you feel that it fits in the sport?
It's up there. It's 100% up there. Got, like I said, me performing, Darren that's on this card as well. It's up there. We've improved leaps and bounds, especially the wrestling. Back in the day, it was UK guys can't wrestle and blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So to have a guy like me going out there and out wrestling RDA and people like that, it proves to the world that we're up there when it comes to martial arts, and Saturday be another proving point again. I go out there, I'm going to beat Belal convincingly, stop him, and we'll keep rising from there. I'm looking to be the second world champion from the UK, and so I am happy with the martial arts in the UK. It's working for me, it's working for my team, so it's all good.
And taking another look back at this time away, what has been the biggest challenge that you found that you forced yourself, that you faced? You talked a little bit about the financials and what you did to take care of that. Yeah. I think you touched on a little bit about the mental side of things and what you were doing. What was the biggest challenge that you sort of faced in this time away?
Probably just not being lazy, right? Because it's easy to like be like, I ain't got a fight coming up, I can just chill. You know, that's probably one of the biggest things. I got to give thanks to my coaches for keeping me in the gym, keeping me working, keeping me focused, and that's probably it. Really, not being lazy. With this year and a half, I've been in the gym every single day, been improving every single day, and I can't wait to show it. I felt great, like I said, when I fought RDA, and I feel better now. So I'm looking forward to going out there and fighting.
And the last time you went in there, you fought in a big arena, and now you're going to be fighting in an empty room. Are you excited to sort of work your way back into, you know, the fighting game in an arena where you're going to hear your corners nice and easily? Or what are your thoughts on that? Do the crowd matter? Would you have wished that they were there for you when you came back?
Yeah, for sure. I wish they was there. It's always good to have the crowd, right? You can feed off the energy. And but over the last year or so, it's been a pandemic, and the whole gym been empty. So I've been in the gym, the empty gym, just my sparring partners and my coaches. So it's gonna be pretty similar, I should imagine. It's gonna be a quiet gym, having a tussle. That's it, really.
And then you touched on a little bit earlier, but if you could just again break it down, looking at Belal, where is he dangerous? What sort of things are you really having to keep in your mind when you're going in there to fight with him?
He's a decent. I think he's decent everywhere to fight. He's a good striker. He's a good wrestler, but I just believe I'm better over the board. Wrestling, jiu-jitsu, striking, but I think his game plan is going to be shoot for his life, shoot double legs for his life, and that's it. But at this level, I've faced many opponents like that already. I know if I fight somebody, they're going to be trying to take me down, right? And that's just what it is. Like I said, you can all these top 15 guys, you can swap them in and out, and they'll come with the same game plan. So it's not really rocket science what they're going to try to do. They won't try and stand with me. So he's going to be shooting for his life and hoping to grind out a victory. But I'm going to fucking take his head off, and I cannot wait for it.
That kind of answered my last question, was going to be what things really need to play out to make sure you get your hands raised in victories? It's just going out there, controlling the pace, being first. What sort of things need to happen to make sure that you get your arm raised?
I have to go out there and bully him. I think that's what I have to go out there and do, and just show him that I am leaps above him, and not just with the rankings, just physically, mentally, and technique. You know what I mean? So I have to go out there and bully him and impose my will on him and show him that I am a different animal to what he's been fighting.
Best of luck concerning.
Just one more. We spoke about a lot of things today, like knife crime, your fight career, but the most important question you'll answer today is, were Meghan and Harry right to leave the royal family?
I haven't saw the full interview of it, but from what I've gathered, 100%. For Harry anyway, look after his wife, right? If once you get a wife, that's your family now, and he's got a kid with her, and the UK has got a little underground racism. It's there, you know what I mean? I know people trying to ignore it.
It's called the Daily Mail, I think.
Exactly. Ignore it like it's not there, but it's there, and like I said, I wish them well, and that's it. Thank you.
Hey Dan, it's nice to be back, right? I know the last fight was a big one for you, but it's been a little bit of a break since then.
Yeah, it's been a nice solid 8 months since then. Going on that five fights in 18 months, that was a lot. I was really active, and it was nice to have a little time off to actually sit back and just grow as a fighter, grow physically, mentally, and improve on every aspect of my martial arts. And it's nice. It's nice to be here. It's nice to be back, and I'm in a happy place. I'm in a good place, and I'm excited to compete on Saturday.
And I know every fight is an experience that you can learn and grow and all that stuff from, but to actually have the main event, go the distance, all these different elements, like what does that really do for your development as a fighter?
Just experience, 25 minutes of cage time that no money can buy. I really feel, going into this fight, I'm definitely an experienced veteran. This is including all my amateur fights, and this is my 18th professional fight. That's 30 fights. This will be my 30th fight, my 30th walk to the octagon. So I think that's the key here, just the experience I've gained over the years. And, the last fight, obviously going 5 rounds was a good learning experience for me. And I'm definitely a better fighter than I was, and I'm excited to show that.
And to come off that, originally you were supposed to fight Ryan Hall, and now it's Gavin Tucker. Were you surprised that these were the matchups that they threw your way, considering the fight you just had as a main event against Cater?
Not really. Kind of everyone got matched up around the same time, and Ryan Hall was a guy that apparently nobody wanted to fight, so I was excited for that battle, and so I accepted it. And when he got injured, everyone else happened to be matched up at the time, but my goal was to compete March 13th, no matter who it was. Didn't matter if you're the last ranked guy or the champion. I was going to go in there and compete, and we got a game opponent ahead of us Saturday night, Gavin Tucker. He's on a 3-fight winning streak. He's a solid opponent. We're very similar in styles. He's almost a mirror myself, so it's nice to actually fight someone my stature. I don't have to fight the 6'5" giant for once, but yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a fun fight for the fans.
And you kind of just said a little bit there about Gavin's style. Is it fair to say that the preparation was a little bit easier in that sense compared to Ryan, just the complicities that he brings to the table?
A little bit. And, to be honest, I try not to focus too much on my opponent's game. I feel like a lot of people made that mistake with Hall. They brought in all these guys and tried to learn leg locks in 8 weeks. Like, you just don't learn leg locks in 8 weeks, and that's something you have to develop over time and time and time. And I've always, try to improve that aspect of the game, because you never know when you're going to face a specialist like Hall. But obviously going against someone like Gavin, that's a funner fight. It's a fun fight for the fans. I was excited for the Hall fight just to go out there and figure out the Rubik's Cube. And but we have a different Rubik's Cube ahead of us, and I'm going to solve the puzzle and get it done.
And I think a lot of people touting this one, fight of the night potential, all that kind of stuff. Is that something you're embracing, or do you want to go out there and have a much more clean, performance of the night type of effort?
We're looking for clean kills here. Obviously a fight of the night is great, and extra 50,000 is great. I prefer the performance of the night. I think that speaks highly, and not taking anything away from Gavin, and no disrespect to Gavin, but I'm going to go in there and do what I do, and I expect to come out with a clean kill.
And if you're able to do that, what do you think that sets you up for kind of in the coming year? I mean, obviously it'll be a nice way to rebound from the loss. You were on a nice streak before then. Does that kind of put you back in that position you were going into the Cater fight, do you think?
I think so. When I earned the Cater fight, everything. I went on a 6-fight winning streak to earn that main event spot, and it all started with the win. And I lost in my UFC debut, but I came back on a tear, and here I am again. I lost another decision, but that doesn't take away from the fighter that I am. And I expect to come back and do the same thing. And that's just the sport we're in. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You know, we're all not Khabib, unfortunately. But, you know, here I am, a few days away from the fight, and I'm excited to return to competition.
Were you surprised that after Ryan had to pull out of the fight, he then called out Jeremy Stephens?
See, that's what got me a little upset. And he
pretty unique, right? I don't think I've seen that before.
Yeah, he messaged me when he got injured. He said, "Hey man, can you push the fight back to late April, early May?" And I don't know if you guys know, but I have a kid. My wife's about to give birth any day now, any week now. So for me to fight on this day is very important to me. I didn't want to move the date because this is my first child. I don't know what my life's going to be like after. And I'm sure it'll be hectic for the first few months. But it's definitely given me an added extra motivation. But yeah, back to your question. He said that, and that, I don't know, that ticked me off a little bit. And I did post something on Twitter. Like, I just posted 2 articles side by side and put it like the emoji like this. And he messaged me saying I was being, what'd he say? He said I wasn't being honest. And I said, what do you mean I'm not being honest? It's speculation, you know. But to go and talk to the media and then ask for the guy who's ranked above me the month later, like, dude, you need to slow your roll and you're going to fight whoever the UFC gives you. You don't pick and choose here, you know. I'm a martial artist. I'm going to fight whoever they tell me to fight. You know, I know this is the game, and everyone, oh, I'm a ranked guy. I only want to fight the guy above me. I don't want to risk my position. Here I am. I'm number 9 in the world, but I'm risking my position against someone who's not ranked. So, but I'm not out there complaining, say, oh, I'm not going to fight this guy because he doesn't have a number next to his name. Gavin's a tough, solid kid. He's earned his shot. You know, I want to give him that shot. But that's not taking any away from the fight. So I don't know. It got me a little fired up. And then I announced, you know, obviously Ryan tried to save the fight. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, come on, don't talk to the media right after you got injured. When you come back, you're going to fight whoever you're going to fight.
I understand that. But, I mean, back to the big news. So congratulations on the kid, man.
Thank you.
So
Thanks.
when you said that your wife could give birth any day now, are we talking like you might walk out on Saturday night of the cage and have a surprise waiting for you, or how close are we?
Honestly, you never know. She's 36 weeks. That's full term. That would be crazy, right? If I don't know, go out.
You're telling her not to watch in case she gets too excited?
Yeah, no, I know. She's going to watch it, but she's pretty level-headed and doesn't get too nervous when I fight. But, yeah, anything can happen. I could have a child Saturday night when I come home, but if not, I hope he stays in there a couple weeks longer.
You said this is your first kid?
Yeah, first kid.
How nervous are you?
I'm just excited, man. I've always wanted kids. I'm embracing every moment. I'm happy, and I'm excited to be a dad. And when I am a dad, these featherweights really better watch out because Daddy Ige is coming.
Congrats, man.
He kind of touched on it there. You know, is the childbirth a nice distraction from a typical fight week, because it maybe gives you motivation, but also gives you something to think outside of just the typical grind of training?
Yeah, I'd say so. You know, I'm taking it all as a positive. It's funny because I come home sometimes beat up, tired from training, and I wanna complain, but then I come home and I'm the servant. You know, I'm the servant to my wife. Usually she's the one cooking my meals, but here I am cooking dinner or watching birth videos or whatever and doing birth classes. But it's definitely been a good distraction, because when you're 24/7 caught up in the fight and the grind, it can be mentally taxing. So for me, it's just been all positive. I'm in a good place mentally, spiritually, physically, and I'm happy. And a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter.
Has any of the birthing, breathing techniques helped you out in your training camp this
We got the J breath, so it's I practice with her. We do some, I don't know, there's a bunch of breathing techniques, but.
That's awesome. You mentioned the loss, the last time you went in there, and how things had improved. You know, it went, I believe it was 5 rounds or whatever. What was the biggest things that you took away from that? Was it the cardio that you understood that your cardio could be pushed further? Was it the mentality of being able to go through it all? I mean, what was the biggest takeaway that you took from that loss?
Yeah, honestly, looking back at it, I don't think there's any difference between 3 rounds and 5 rounds. It's definitely a mental mindset. And I had 4 weeks to prepare for that bout. So in my mind, going into that, I was like, I don't know how my cardio is going to hold up. I'm always in good shape. I'm always training year round. But mentally just accepting like, hey, I'm going to go hard for 25 minutes instead of 15 minutes. I think I held back a little because I never went back to the stool once where I was like out of breath or tired. Even after the fight or going into the 5th round, like I still had, gas in the tank. I could talk. I did an interview right after. I didn't feel tired. I got beat up, but it was nice to feel that for once. And definitely the next time I get an opportunity, I know 100% I can do it. And but it's also nice to fight 3 rounds, 15 minutes. I think you could do anything in life for 15 minutes. So I plan to go out and put a pace for 15 minutes.
And you mentioned the word Rubik's Cube out there. And how you had a new Rubik's Cube in front of you. What is the most exciting aspect of going into another fight for you? Do you enjoy the preparation? Do you enjoy the game planning? What really excites you the most when you get this new Rubik's Cube every time?
As a kid, I could never figure out the Rubik's Cube, so I dismantle and I take the stickers off and I put it together. So that's what I'm going to do.
That's awesome. And just quickly, just a couple more, and you talked about them a little bit, but break down your opponent for me. Where's Gavin the most dangerous, and what sort of things are you preparing for him to bring out there in the octagon?
I think Gavin is a very intelligent, analytical fighter. He's he is a tough, scrappy dude, but he's a thinker. And he gets emotional too. Sometimes when he gets hit, he'll punch himself on the chin. Like, he's an emotional fighter, and I plan to use that to his disadvantage. I try to go out there and fight with no emotion. I'm completely in the moment, and but his strengths, he's good everywhere. I think he's very well rounded. He's a southpaw, crafty southpaw. He's got good kicks, good striking, good judo. I feel like his judo is a little underestimated. He has a good judo base. Obviously a black belt under Renzo Gracie, highly respected. Man, I'm just excited to put everything to the test and test myself against someone like Gavin, who is hungry, who is coming up, who has an opportunity ahead of him to break into the top 10 of the world. And that just brings the best out of me. So, Gavin's a solid opponent, and I can't wait to test him against, Saturday night.
And lastly, putting the lens back upon yourself, what things really need to work for yourself to make sure that you can ensure that you get your hands raised at the end of the night?
Just staying composed, vicious, tenacity. It's controlled aggression. I can't go in there and be over-aggressive. I can't be too relaxed. You watched the main event this past Saturday night with Adesanya, and he was really getting John to bite on his feints, but he was almost too patient, and he fell short in the fight. But sometimes also we hurt a guy and we have to jump on the guy right away, but then we're over-exaggerated and trying to get the finish and trying to get the kill. I think now I've really just, my poise, everything's just going to pay off. I feel like very calm, relaxed, in the moment. I'm going to see everything, and I have to just go out there and put a controlled pressure. And when I'm in there, I can't give the guy any respect. I have to go in there and focus 100% on what I'm going to do and, not give this guy any respect.
Best of luck on Saturday. Congrats on the kid. I'm looking forward to a daddy gay out there.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys.
Dan, just one more for you.
Yeah.
I know how close you are with your coach, Eryk Anders. To see him get his first UFC title as a cornerman, the way it went down on Saturday, what was your thoughts on all that and the end of that fight and everything?
Yeah, it's an unfortunate way to win. You know, if I know Aljo didn't want to win like that, I wouldn't want to win a world title like that. But at the end of the day, you know, there's rules in this sport, and you know, I'm happy. I'm happy for Aljamain, and he's gonna get a chance to, and you know, put on a rematch for the fans. And I think you'll see an even better Aljo because he's actually gone out there and faced the opponent he was preparing for, not ever having. What's up, brother? How are you? Sorry. What's in the bag? You know, sorry, I got a little sidetracked there. I don't remember what I was saying.
No, you're good. I think you're just kind of saying no fighter would want to win like that, especially.
Oh yeah. So, you know, like I said, he's felt Peter Yan. I've in my past, in my career, I've fought the same opponent twice, and I've won both times. But having felt your opponent before and going in a second time just gives you a little extra fuel. Like, okay, now I know this guy's really tough. I knew he was tough before, but this guy's really tough. So it's just going to help him elevate to a higher level. And I'm excited for him. I know it sucks, you know, getting a lot of backlash from fans, media. It sucks. It's unfortunate, but he just has to ignore the naysayers. And at the end of the day, you're a world champion. And but he will get a chance to redeem himself. Cool. Thanks, guys.
We have Ryan Spann.
Ryan Spann, everyone.
There it is.
Good. So Ryan, I know there was a lot of frustration after the last one, but to get back and be positioned in a fight like this, in a co-main event, all that kind of stuff, does it kind of show you what the UFC still thinks of you despite the result the last time?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me of what happened last time I was here. It's exactly what I needed 2 days before the next one. No, I'm just kidding, man. No, it seems that they do still have a lot of faith in me, and yeah, it was a lot of frustration involved with that, with some of the shots that was taken and calls that was not made, and for me to still basically didn't move in the rankings. I think I went back once, one spot maybe, after a while, and so for me to be sitting here in the co-main event spot against Misha is still pretty cool to see that, they don't just write me off.
Yeah, at what point along the road did you just put all that behind you? Was it once this fight was booked, or was there something sooner that kind of helped you turn the page? I think it was something sooner. It wasn't we was already joking about it. I just kind of accepted it for what it was, knowing that I was winning basically the entire fight until the one moment I didn't move and was basically I was thinking I was going to get a call because I was taking a lot of shots in the back of the head, and when I didn't really get the call, and that's when it set me up. The shot that he got me with was straight up, it was a good shot. Damn, I can't find no shots like that. Let me do this. But it wasn't, I just took it for what it was and moved on. Took a nap in front of people. That was not that great of an idea. I know not to do that no more. Is it a situation where with the referee you feel it was a bad call, and do you not want Dan Miragliotta refereeing your fights anymore?
Honestly, I don't really care who refs my fight. I just know to take everybody out of the situation. If I make them go to sleep before anybody can say nothing, I won't have a problem. So I should have moved. It was on me. I should have moved. I had too much faith in the system when I should have just took it out of the system hands.
Fair enough. And what do you think of Misha as an opponent? He's been out for a little while, but his last win was, I think, a submission of the year candidate back in 2019. What do you make of just his skill set and the challenges here?
I don't watch film, so I don't know. It just so happened that I was there, I think, at that fight, if that was his last fight.
Yeah, in Vancouver were you there with Uriah?
Yeah, I was there with Uriah. So, he fought Crute. So I think it was some kind of Peruvian or some. Yeah. Which was dope. That was dope. I'd be throwing those in practice. I want to land one myself. I probably shouldn't have gave away that I could do that. We're gonna cut that out. Is this live?
A little bit.
But I respect the skill set. I respect the skills. I'm gonna leave it at that. I ain't gonna say I ain't got nothing nice to say, but I'm just not gonna say nothing.
Why do you take the approach of not really studying the opponents too much or watching film?
I'm a martial artist, man. I like to be free. Like Bruce Lee said, be water. So I noticed that I'm freer the less I know. And I can figure it out. I'm 29. I've been doing this for 27 years or so. And so I can figure things out really quick. I got bashed a lot on the internet about my fight IQ and all this shit, but people don't get to see, I guess I hadn't showed it, I guess I ain't need to show either, but how high my fight IQ is, and that's a part of it. I don't study film and I can figure fights out really quick. And so that's kind of where I be. I kind of take it for what it is. I focus on my skill set and making myself better, so it doesn't matter what you're gonna try to do. It's wills in there, and I'm gonna impose mine.
And obviously kind of a big month.
First of all, look, you don't even gotta finish that. Yes. I had my teammate was fighting Kennedy and Zetsuku, and my boy, he put it out, whoo! He had me hyped. I am not gonna lie, I cried a little bit. Because that was one that I wanted for him. We all wanted for him. And he needed. He's been out for a while. And for him to come back and do that, oh my goodness. I feel like a lot of people straight up doubt him. And people don't know how good Kennedy really is. They don't see him on the mats like we see him. Kennedy is a killer. Kennedy beats my ass sometimes. And so, like, people don't know how good that man is, man. Like, that's my little brother, man. Like, I'm so excited. I'm pumped when I seen that. Like, I was ready to go. I called coach. I was like, yo, I'm excited, man. So that's where we at right now, and that's probably why I'm still a little giddy right now. Like, watching that, like, the title fight is what it is. Like, that's cool, but I'm more so excited for what Kennedy did. Like, that pumped me up.
Yeah, was that a particularly big moment for him, especially what happened in the Paul Craig fight, where it was kind of the reverse of that a little bit? He had, the lead.
He was beating him the entire fight until he wasn't beating him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's basic. The thing about Kennedy is, man, he you think he was out. Like, that was probably the most hurt I've seen him, and I still don't think he was hurt. Like, he probably like scrambled his equilibrium a little bit. He did a little bit of the stanky leg, but shit, we all have. And Kennedy was still in the middle of a firefight, looking at the referee like, "I'm good, ref." Like, no, man, move, bro. Like, he gave me a heart attack, man. He gave me about 5 heart attacks. Cause looking at it on TV, it's like, yo, the referee is about to stop it, and then Kennedy is still taking shots, and at the same time, like, no, I'm good. Like, no, don't look at him. Look at him. And like, you would think that he was like not there or just getting beat up, but Kennedy was there the whole time. He just started slow.
What does it do for just your training level to have him in the gym, Alonzo, like 3 guys that are in this weight class and obviously doing,
We the
really
3-headed monster, man. Like, it's like some real killers, man. Like, we've all talked and we was like, all right, since I'm ranked higher right now, it's like, I'm gonna get the belt, and when one of them are ready, I'm gonna drop the belt and I'm gonna move up to heavyweight, because fuck this cutting weight thing, man. And I'm gonna let them have it, and like, we're gonna all separate and figure out what we need to do. Like, we're never gonna have to fight each other because we do it enough in the gym, and like, we all love each other. We're all brothers, so it kind of like, having that pushes us to be better at what we're doing, and like the way we drive and the way we hold each other. Like, there was a couple times where I was like, Kennedy, I don't mind fighting you, bro, but do that shit out there. Like, if you gonna fuck me up in here, please do it out there. And like, for him to come through the way he did, like, I'm super excited. And then we got Alonzo's coming up in 2 weeks, I think. I don't know if that's announced. Did they say that? Whoops. But we was all supposed to be going back to back, and then they had the COVID situation, so it pushed them back. And so like, all of us fighting together too is like new for us, being together for as long as we have, and we all have never really gotten to fight together. And I was telling them the other day, I was like, I don't know if I like this, because like, when we're fighting together, we can use each other, but at the same time, it depends on who we's fighting, on what body types that we need. So like, we're all priority in the whole thing. So I'm like, I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I want to do this no more.
It's announced, so don't worry.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
All right, cool. You're good. I was like, man, I'm gonna get back to the hotel. Coach is gonna kill me.
Just one for me, man. That Kennedy fight. So even as a media member, I was watching it and I was losing my mind watching the fight. As someone who's invested in the fight, who knows the guy in there, and it's just back and forth and just rock and sock and robots. What is that experience like watching it?
So it didn't really get back and forth. So I started freaking out in like the first maybe 10 seconds. Because I'm like, yo, we're 10 seconds into a fight and he ain't throwing nothing. All right, man, let's give him a second. And then we get to like a minute and something, he still ain't throwing a freaking punch. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I was wigging, man. I was wigging. Like, my kids coming up talking to me, like, no, leave me alone. Get out of here, man. So like, I was wigging, but it was exciting to see that, and I knew he was gonna get a bonus. Like, I think if the nobody on the main card got a bonus. Yeah, so he ended up getting. He should have got 2. They should have gave him 100 for that.
Last night,
Yeah, they should have gave him 100 for that.
Speaking of Kenny, just one last one, and he's this guy that I think, especially you as teammates, one that we as media have been watching, just waiting for him to have his sort of coming out moment. And I felt that fight was finally his big coming out moment. You don't think so?
Not yet.
Oh, so he hasn't even peaked yet?
Not even close.
And that I believe. But I guess what I'm going with that is that when you see a guy like that you know maybe now is just starting to come out, what does that help do for you as a teammate, even just yourself? Because I think that's one of those things that you guys are like, hit, strike, go forward. I know you can do this. Mm-hmm. But watching one of your teammates, one of your close brothers do this sort of thing, what does that do for you and maybe help relieving any sort of self-doubts that you might have as well when you go in there?
It helps drive me because at the same time, I want to be able to set an example for what he's capable of because me and Kennedy is the same size-ish.
Ish.
Motherfucker's longer than me. Wait, pause. He has a longer reach than me. And, but at the same time, like, yo, you can do this. This is like Kennedy is 9 fights in right now. Not to mention like a couple amateur fights. Like, so he's still really young and like he haven't taken a lot of damage. Like the most I think he's taken is that last fight. And even then, he was blocking a lot of those shots. You know, dude was digging to his body though. That was kind of scaring me a little bit. But I've hit Kennedy pretty fucking hard, and he just kept coming forward. Like y'all haven't seen nothing yet when it comes to Kennedy. You ain't seen nothing yet. He will be world champion.
That's awesome. And speaking of experience, you just going off the dates, I think you said you're 29. You've been doing this for 27 years. So I
started when I was 18
2-year-old?
Yeah.
The 2-year-old Ryan Spann, was he difficult? Was he a badass?
No, I'm not saying I'm a badass, but so my brother is 10 years older than me. So he started when he was 11 or something like that. He started in Taekwondo. He wanted to box, but all we had in Memphis available was Taekwondo. My mom worked 2 jobs, so that was like our babysitter. So he started taking Taekwondo. And I was one of those little kids that, you know, my brother took me everywhere with him. And like, I still look up to my brother. Like he's at the hotel now. And so like everything he tried to do, I tried to emulate. And that's kind of how I started because they noticed that I was trying to do everything on the sideline. And then, you know, the sensei let me in and let me start because I wasn't like a rowdy kid or anything. So I got to start pretty early.
How's this whole process been for your mom that helped push you off into, sounds like martial arts at a very early age? What does she think about all this?
My mom loves it, man. First of all, y'all ain't gonna make me cry by talking about my mom. She loves it, man. She always try to like watch my fights and whatever. Like she's gonna go to Dallas, I think, in the next couple of days to go watch the fight with my wife and my kids and stuff. And so she has all of my belts. She has all of my trophies, all of my brother's trophies, banners, anything I basically get that I like. No, I got my belts. I have my belts now. I had to basically fight my mom for my belts. And she tried to keep everything. She has everything.
Did she take the raps?
No, she tried. I was like, Mama, they stink. Don't. She have tried like numerous times.
So who gets the first phone call after a fight? Is it?
It's my kids.
The kids?
Yeah, it's my kids and then my mom. So my mom is the reason why I don't fight as like, cause my mom get like stressed out, man. So I try to make my fights as quick as possible so my mom don't, you know, cause I told my mom I started doing this cause, not doing this, like I wanted to be football. Football was my first love. Like I started football early as well. And that's basically where we went from Taekwondo to football practice. And like I would just watch my brother play football and like I fell in love with football. Like I'm 6'5" and don't give a damn about basketball. Everybody's like, oh, you a baller? No, I don't. I can't. I can dunk. like I can dunk, I can do that, I can shoot-ish, but football was my love. And like when I was young, I was like 5 or 6, I told my mom I was gonna buy her house. And so that's what we're still working on. Like I'm still gonna buy my mom that house.
That's awesome. Good luck with that one. Just finally, you said you didn't watch a lot of tape, but if you could, just break down your opponent for me. What are you expecting out there from him, and where's he the most dangerous? Is it just stay off the ground and things will be okay? What's the biggest thing that you're looking for when you're going in there into the octagon?
Him trying to punch me in the face. Like that's pretty much like, no, I don't want to do that part, but I don't know. I don't watch film. It's not as, I'm not going to be disrespectful and be like, I just do this and I'll be fine type thing. Because I mean, I don't necessarily know what I can look at him and tell he's strong, and I also have the advantage of one of my best friends, Uriah, training with him, and so got a little bit of insight, but I can look at him and see that he's strong as shit. And for him to, I didn't watch the whole fight with Crute. I remember seeing the finish, and at any point for him, like I know Crute is strong, and for him to basically tie up him, then he has to be strong. Like I said, you can look at him and tell.
And then lastly, what things really need to happen to make sure that you get your arms raised? What are the keys to the victory for you? Is it just going out there, being able to flow through the moment, and being able to work through different aspects? Or
Oh, no, I'll just show up. It's going to happen. No, I'm just kidding. Look, seriously, I just want to have fun. Like, if I have fun and I'm relaxed and seeing everything, take advantage of whatever he's giving me, it's going to happen. It's going to come.
Best of luck.
That simple. Thank you. We're good.
Now I want to meet your mom.
She'll probably do that fight soon. Especially in Texas. Yeah.
Hi. So return to fighting. Obviously, it's been a little while. It's June last year. I think we saw you. Was it?
Yeah, last year. June. I was supposed to fight October, but yeah, June.
What happened in October?
My opponent came in heavy.
Fair enough. Yeah, because I thought I saw you more recently than June, so I was kind of like,
Yeah.
working out. So ahead of this fight, how are preparations? I know it's a bit of a cliche question, but how's the camp going? How is everything as you lead into fight night?
It's going really good. We had a little bit of change of like how we did camp. We decided that we were going to focus more on individual aspects of, I guess, training. We went to a specific Muay Thai gym. We did jiu-jitsu at a certain gym, and then we did MMA kind of out of our garage, just to kind of stay safe and to also just really focus on what we needed instead of what like a whole team needs. And that's kind of what we were finding at other gyms, that it was something like is more focused on a team as a whole instead of individuals.
What has that done for you, studying that? Like you said, you went to a Muay Thai gym to study the specifics of different aspects. What has that done for you, as opposed to just trying to train it all generally at once?
I think it's really opened our eyes to as far as like the lack of specific skills we have. I mean, when you go to a straight Muay Thai gym, you're doing straight Muay Thai, and you can really find holes a lot easier than if you're just dabbling in it here and there throughout the week, because you're doing so many other things at one training practice. So I feel like with going and stepping into a Muay Thai gym and strictly doing Muay Thai, you're finding the holes a lot easier and you're picking up things a lot easier than if you're mixing in, 15 minutes of striking with your jiu-jitsu, with wrestling, and everything kind of blended together. So I feel like we've been able to grow a lot quicker than we would in a normal setting.
That said, is it a bit of a challenge to transition if you study just Muay Thai and then you go to a wrestling class, or you go to a straight boxing class or a kickboxing class? Is there a bit of a challenge in transitioning, like if you're in your Muay Thai stance versus boxing or whatever?
No, I don't think that the transition's hard. It's just switching that mindset, like, I have to grapple the whole class. I can't stand up. I can't, mix in, my striking with my takedowns. It's like, I'm just doing wrestling. I'm just doing jiu-jitsu, and then I'm just doing, striking. And then on days that we do MMA, I feel like everything kind of flows together a lot smoother than it did in the past.
Do you enjoy it more?
I think training how we're training now is more enjoyable than it has been. It started to become more of a job, having to show up at the gym at certain times, and that's when you got your training in. With this, how we're training, and we kind of got to build our own schedule a little bit more, and have a little bit more free time when we needed free time, and train when we wanted to train, instead of being on a strict schedule because everyone was on that schedule. It's more tailored to our needs as fighters, and also with having a family and everything like that.
When you look at this fight, what are the biggest risks you face going into this one?
I think the biggest risk that I face is just the pressure that JJ holds. I tend to be a little bit more of a counter puncher and counter striker, so I feel like just making sure that I'm moving forward as well, as much as she is. But other than that, I feel like we're pretty much equal everywhere it goes.
Congratulations for the fight. Congratulations. Good luck.
Thank you.
Cortney, do you come into these fight weeks now? I mean, what happened with your last fight? What happened with Jakar? Like, do you come in with a little trepidation in the back of your head, like, oh God, like, what's going to happen this time?
Definitely, but we tried to get the variable that was in both of our corners. We kind of were like, yo, you can't come. We just got the bad juju out. So we put him to the side. But other than that, I feel like everything's good. We both came into both camps ready. It just, everything happens for a reason. And, Jakar got a great fight afterwards. And then again, I got a good fight with JJ. So, I mean, we can only just look at the bright side and hope for the best this week.
Yeah, I guess that's the only mentality you can have. I mean, is there some challenges to getting there too? Being like, I don't know if this is actually going to happen until I step in that cage on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of those things that anything can happen. It's a fight game, and then at the same time, we're dealing with COVID. So, I mean, really, you just kind of got to take every day, day by day.
And you talked a little bit about JJ there and her pressure and everything. What do you think is the best kind of response to a pressure fighter like that? How do you kind of prevent them, obviously, without giving away too much of your game plan?
You hit them.
Yeah.
You hit them when they come forward.
Yeah, and do you feel like this fight, I mean, obviously, there being varying results over the past couple of years, do you feel like there's something that's maybe clicked going into this fight where it can start some momentum for you here?
Yeah, I think just, again, with the training, the specific training that I felt like that I needed, and just going in there and getting the job done. I feel like the puzzle pieces that we had were a lot bigger that we needed to put in place, and I think over the, 15 months and this past 6 months, I feel like those pieces have gotten smaller, so I definitely feel like we're going to be able to complete the puzzle come Saturday.
Do you think when people maybe look at your record, there's maybe a misrepresentation? Because so many of those fights, short notice, the replacement, all these things, like you were the person there for multiple years where if we need someone to step in, Cortney's the one we call. Do you think that's kind of overlooked to an aspect of how some of your fights have gone?
I think to the general population of people, yeah, but to the true MMA fans and the people behind the scenes, and especially the matchmakers and also my camp and stuff, I think they realized, you know, all those fights were close. Like, I never really went into those fights like, oh, we're just gonna, you know, gonna go in there and just fight. You know, we always went in with a mindset that we can definitely win, and some of those fights could have gone either way, and that just didn't happen. So, you know, for me, I think the surrounding people in my close community, as long as they're okay with the outcome, I'm okay as well. I really don't care what other people think. I'm here to do my job, and my job's to fight, and if that means I got to take a fight on 2 weeks' notice, then I take a fight on 2 weeks' notice.
So safe to say that's the attitude you intend on carrying through the remainder of your career? Do you think as you move along, you might have to be more selective in your decision making when it comes to things like that?
I like to think if you scratch the UFC's back, they scratch yours. Again, like I said, our contracts are in fights. If you're turning down fights, then they might not come again. So for me, I was lucky enough to, each fight that I got was a big name. And like I said, I showed well in all those fights. I've only been finished once in the UFC, and this is going on my 13th fight. So, I mean, I feel like I fare well with anyone in the division, 115 or 125, and, you know, possibly 135 if that comes along as well.
Interesting. So you might consider jumping up another division?
We'll see. I like to fight, so if it means taking a fight at 35, I'll take a fight at 35.
Awesome. Thank you, Cortney.
Speaking of the specific training, is that looking to fix a hole within yourself, or is it partially catered to who the upcoming opponent is as well?
Both. It's definitely both. With every fight, you know, you can go back and look at film, but they can change as well. So for me, the main focus is making sure that I'm fixing my holes. But at the same time, if you're going against a striker, you're probably going to want to, you know, focus a little bit more on your striking. But everyone, you know, is a striker, and then at the end of the day, when they end up fighting me, they turn into some kind of world-class wrestler. But yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm the best fighter that I can be, and I feel like with the specific training, that's the best way to do it.
Do you have somebody that's sort of coordinating the overall, that we're going to work on this right now, we're going to work on this? Is there a head coach, or who's coordinates the overall specific training and when you do it? Or is that yourself and how you kind of feel?
Yeah, we definitely decided that we're going to take over our camps as fighters. Obviously, we have head coaches and head training partners, I guess you can say, and I feel like that's really the biggest bonus to how we're training, is making sure that your training partners kind of have a say in what you're doing, because they're the ones in there working with you. They can feel your holes, they can feel your gaps, and you know, they're like, hey, you're a little bit weak here, like I constantly getting this kind of takedown, I'm constantly getting this combo off on you, you know, you're not checking leg kicks and things like that. Instead of an outsider looking in saying what you need to do, for us, it's been more beneficial to have someone who's actually in there training with you saying, yo, this is what I'm catching you with, we need to work on this.
And then, correct me if I'm wrong, I think here's another case where the odds makers, for some reason, want to put you as the underdog. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you've been the underdog for a lot of fights where it doesn't seem like you should be the underdog. But does this, in one odds site that I've checked, of course, they have you as the underdog again. Does that sort of stuff fire you up? Do you even pay attention to it? I mean, does it,
I didn't even know that I was the underdog, but I mean, I guess I'm the underdog again. It is what it is. I can't really change it. Can't change the odds makers. I just got to go in there and do my job.
It never sort of gives you a fire up where you're like, I'm going to go make some people lose some money, or maybe make some friends.
I'm always looking to make my friends money. I don't care if people lose money. Just making sure my friends win some money.
And speaking of that, looking at the fight night, what sort of things really need to fall in line to make sure that you get your arm raised at the end of the night?
I mean, for me, it's just going out there and doing what I do best. Sometimes I kind of stray away from that, and I think with the corners that I have and the camps that I've had these past 2 camps, even though the last one didn't go through, I feel like I'm finding myself again and happy training and happy going out there and just being who I am and pushing the pace and making things a little bit ugly in there, and just kind of implementing my own will on these girls.
What was the piece that finally made you happy again going in there and getting the training? What was it?
That it was my choice on when I got to train. Sometimes you don't feel like waking up at 10 o'clock, or you don't feel like going at 3. or 2 or 1. It's being able to make your own schedule. You know, we call it the Mayweather schedule, the Mayweather training camp. We were lucky enough to have a great sponsor with Zebra Mats and being able to mat out our gym and being able to train whenever we want. I'm lucky to have a partner that also trains in fights in the UFC. So being able to just say, hey, we're going to sleep in, we don't feel like training today, or hey, like I'd rather go get a workout in at 7 than at 3. Are you okay with that? And I think that's the best way to do it, is just be happy when you're training.
Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you. Yep. I spit on that a lot, sir.
Good try. Main event Muhammad.
Yo, I like the sound of that.
We out here. How's it feel to actually be here the fight week and be actually going through this process to headline your first card?
It's been amazing. You know, it just literally feels like it's all a part of the same trip that I was just on when I fought Lima. So it's like same people, same hotel. It just feels like it's a normal day for me now.
What was the health status coming out of the Lima fight? Because I think that was kind of maybe, was that the only thing potentially like holding you back from maybe taking this opportunity, the damage to the legs or anything like that?
No, like literally after a couple of days, I was fine to go. You know, I hit up the right people. I called Paul Felder, you know, the guy who's literally fought the best kickers in the game. I was like, hey, how long did your leg hurt? And he sent me like a picture of his leg super bruised and black. And I was like, all right, I'm not there, so we're good. I iced it for a little bit. I was fine. Once I found out that I had a fight, I was like, all right, let me go jog. And then it felt good jogging, so that's all I really needed to know.
Yeah, when Dana White was asked about you stepping in here, like obviously it seemed Colby Covington was the first priority a little bit, but he just said Belal wanted this and he really chased this opportunity. How did it go down from your perspective to get this fight?
Yeah, you know, I was, at first when I fought Lima, I thought that Covington had the fight already. So then that's why I didn't call him out after my fight. But if I knew that, I would have called him out on the mic. You know, this is the fight I want. This is I want to fight the best guys. All these guys are sitting here on the sidelines not wanting to fight, but we're prize fighters. This is what we get paid to do. So, like, for me to get an ESPN main event against the number 3 guy in the world and a guy that Dana White just said if he wins, he's going to fight for the title next, boom, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to steal a shot.
Yeah, is that what you think you could do? Do you think you could slide in here and maybe get the next title shot with the win here?
Oh, definitely. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to put on a performance that people aren't going to forget. It's going to be one of those performances. It's like, what have you done for me lately? That's what people remember. Like, who's the last guy? So, me coming out there, putting on a great fight, a great show, and finishing Leon Edwards, then they're going to be like, the fans are going to be wanting this fight. They're going to be like, you know, Masvidal just lost to him. Masvidal is not that good. We don't care about his following, yada, yada, yada. This guy just fought. He earned it. So, let's give him the shot.
And I saw you retweet the clip of Kamaru Usman talking to John Morgan about you and saying, you know, don't sleep on Belal, basically, like he's a really dangerous guy. What did it mean to you? Not that you need anyone's validation or anything like that, but to hear the champ talking about you in that light.
You know, it means a lot because, you know, the fans, there's a lot of fans out here who look at rankings and say this fight doesn't make sense. But like fighters, real coaches, they know this is a good matchup. They know that skill for skill, we're neck and neck. We're good with each other right now. And this is a fight that I'm going to win. And, you know, my coaches, my team believe in me. But knowing that the champ got his eyes on you, the champ sees you. I just was with the GOAT right now, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and he was like giving me pointers about my last fight and telling me, I'm like, dang, you watched my last fight? He's like, brother, yes. And I'm like, it just means a lot that you have the respect of your colleagues. That's the only people I really care about. Those are the only people that matter to me, because those are the ones that really understand the sport, understand the game.
And I know you're a little bit in the media with us. You got your podcast and everything. You're with Habib. Did he give you any insight on his plans?
He's going to be coming out, remember the show, pretty soon. I'm getting close. We're inches away. But he's a great coach. Literally seeing him practice and coaching the guys. And, my teammates that I brought with me had the honor of being a part of the practice today and yesterday. It's like amazing to see how these guys train. And like, you don't realize how blessed you are with the opportunities you're given. And shout out to Ali Abdelaziz for like making these opportunities available for me and my team, because, that's a small group right there. They're a private group. So to be able to learn from a guy like that, who's the best to ever do it, it's amazing.
And as far as Leon, he's been out, it'll be 600 or so days since between fights.
600?
Yeah, something like that. So for him, I mean, he claims, we just talked to a bit earlier, that he's a completely different fighter. He won't be recognizable from the last time we saw him. How do you prepare for that? I mean, do you just have to go off the tape from the RDA fight and before that, or can you prepare for potential strides he's made since then?
For me, I'm not a big tape watcher. It's one of those where I let my instincts do the talking for me. My coaches will watch, see little subtleties, but there's no substitute for cage time, for fight time. You can sit there and spar, and you could lift all these extra weights and say, I got the best nutritionist and I got the best mental coach. But on fight night, on that night, you have to show up. You have to be there on that night. You have to be that fighter that day. And for me, I literally was just in there. So, like, it's just another day in the office for me. He hasn't been in there a while. And for you to take that much time off and then to fight a guy like me, a guy that's going to be in your face, a guy that's going to be freaking making you sweat, making you bleed, making you breathe hard, that's a whole different experience that he hasn't felt in a while. And he hasn't even felt with anybody he's recently fought. So, like, it's a whole different experience, and he's going to realize that he needs that cage time. He should have fought somebody else. He should have waited for somebody else, because he's going to lose his opportunity of getting that title fight after this fight.
As a media member, I always appreciate when other people are doing great journalism. Did you ever find out what was in Ottman's bag?
Those guys, dude, shout out to those two right there, man. Him and his brother are literally the most genuine, best people I've ever met in my life. Literally, they took care of me all last week. And it's crazy how those guys get so much hate from like fans and stuff that never even met them before in their life. They're like, people literally troll them for no reason. But like, if anybody who's ever met them, anybody who's ever been with them, like, they literally treat you like brothers. So shout out to those two right there, man. And I'm just glad he's back in the UFC, because he's an amazing fighter.
Yeah, they are very friendly, man.
You met them? Dude, amazing, right?
Moving on from that, do you have any sort of sympathy for Leon's situation, right? Like, he's had loads of fights, they've been postponed, they've been cancelled. Do you look at that as a more active guy and think, oh man, that would really suck if I was in that position?
Yeah, exactly. I look at his as like the sad story, where it's, if I'm healthy, if I'm in fight shape, you got to take advantage of that, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know how you're going to feel tomorrow. This is literally the most hardest sport in the world to train for. Like, you could get injured jogging, you could get injured wrestling practice, you have sparring practice, you have grappling practice. There's a million ways to get hurt in this sport. So, like, you have to take advantage of your health when you have it. And, for a guy like that who's been out that long, some of it's his own doing and some of it's just unnatural reasons. Like, for me, I'm just happy to be able to take this opportunity so quick, where people are like, oh, why are you okay? Or could you do it? Like, if I could walk to that cage, I'm fighting in that cage. So for whenever the UFC calls, I'm always going to say, yeah, I'm always going to be that guy, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Obviously, I mean, he's been out for too long, but do you think there's could be a balancing act, right? Like, if you're not fighting regularly, then you're saving yourself from damage and stuff like that, and you can improve on your skills. So do you think perhaps there's some benefit to not being as active as other fighters?
I mean, there's some benefit, but then it all goes back to how you're training. Because I know some guys that'll sit there, lose their career in the practice room. They'll sit there, spar super hard, kill each other in the practice room. So for me, I don't do that. My team, we're like the smartest training partners. We go like kind of like Max Holloway, where it's like light sparring. We don't have to. You're not gonna condition your chin in practice. Your chin's not gonna get better condition. You're only gonna lose years off your life from that. That's where I feel like guys lose in the cage. Unless you're getting knocked out regularly, if you're winning, fight every week. It don't matter. But like, if you're training smart, if you're eating right, like I didn't have to. After a fight, you sit there, you have some gluttony. You go to freaking McDonald's, Taco Bell, you eat terrible, but you just had 8 weeks of eating healthy. Your body was perfect, everything was going good, but then after that win, you want to celebrate, so you eat terrible. So like, I didn't go through that process, so I probably put an extra 5 years on my life by not having to eat that splurge of fatness.
I'm only asking you this because I asked Leon. Do you have any opinion on Meghan Markle and Prince Harry leaving the royal family?
No.
Didn't think so.
Well, speaking of that, and you kind of touched on it, this is such a quick turnaround for you as well. Are you feeling 100%? You know, I know there's a lot of time, there's always a bit of nagging injuries that fighters just work through, and then they just, you know, here's another fight and they take it. But are you feeling 100% in this one? And were there any things that maybe a little time off would have maybe did a little bit better, or are you glad that you're getting right back in there?
Honestly, this is like the perfect scenario for me. I feel good. I felt perfect. Like I said, you're usually going into fights injured because of long camps. You're overthinking it. You're watching a million hours of tape. You're stressed. You can't sleep because you're like, oh, did I do this? Did I do that? Oh, I forgot to look at the way he walks to the cage and stuff like that. For me, this is all simple. It's a lot easier. I don't have to overthink the process. My body feels good. I was just in the cage. And thankfully, like, I made it here healthy. That's the biggest goal whenever you're doing a long camp or something like that. It's just getting to fight week healthy. So for me, that last fight, I was good after a couple days, literally, and I was jogging, I was ready to work out. So like, it was like, I didn't need hard sparring because I literally just hard sparred with Diego Lima, and it was just all about getting your timing right, switching to fighting a southpaw, getting my mind right. But I already fought 5 southpaws in the cage. Jeff Neal is probably a better southpaw than Leon Edwards. I fought with him, I trained with him, so I understand the process already.
And, you know, we've had other fighters, especially a guy like Dom Cruz or somebody that's like, oh, ring rust isn't real. It's a mental thing or this and that. But what is your opinion on that? And you're looking at a guy, and you kind of touched on it earlier, that has been away for so long. Is it just about being out of the fight speed, you know, of the speed of how it will play out there? Or is it getting hit? I mean, what are the biggest things that you think is really going to affect him going into this fight?
The biggest thing that's going to affect him is, you know, experiencing a guy that's going to be in your face for this long. Like, ring rust, it doesn't matter if you're going against a guy that's going to allow you to get your timing in the cage, allow you to stay on the outside. All right, get comfortable a little bit, throw a jab here, move around. But I'm not that guy. I'm going to be a guy that's going to be in your face, walking you down, making you look to your corner for advice. I'm not going to let him breathe. So he hasn't experienced that in the UFC, and I know he didn't experience that at practice, and this ain't practice, this is fighting. So like, for me, I'm gonna have to push him to his limits. I'm gonna push him to his breaking points, and that's gonna be his issue. You know, he hasn't felt that in 600 days or however long it is. So for him to get that all in one day, it's gonna be the worst 25 minutes of his life.
And on the flip side, you sort of said, here's a guy that shouldn't have been holding out. He should have picked up a fight. He should have did something. But you want to steal his shine, and you want to try to get that title opportunity afterwards. Are you willing to kind of sit out and wait to get that opportunity? Should you get a wonderful finish or a wonderful performance and get the victory here, and you're put in that same situation, will you take a fight if it presents itself, or will you say, I think I'm ready for that title shot and hold out for it?
No, I'm gonna be one of those guys always gonna say, especially if it's Colby Covington, because after this fight, that's who's next to him, and I hate that guy's guts. If I ever see that guy in the street, I'm hitting him. So it's one of those where obviously that's a fight that I would want that fight before Usman, because stylistically that's a fight that makes sense, and that's gonna prepare you for the Usman fight, who's the champion. So for me, it's just keeping the momentum going. If I could keep fighting, if God willing, I'm healthy, inshallah, win this fight, and if they want to get me back here a month later against Kobe, why not? I'm down.
And finally, what are all the things that need to line up, and what needs to happen to make sure that you get your arm raised on Saturday night?
The only thing that needs to line up is that the car is going to have to pull up on time to the arena. I need to get out the car. I need to get my hands wrapped, and once I'm in that cage, I'm winning this fight.
Best of luck.
Thank you, bro.
Well, just to follow up for you, I know you've not spoken highly about Colby in the past, but you said you hate his guts. Why is that the case? What did he do to make you feel that strongly about him?
Man, I just hate evil people. Like, you could sit there and say it's a character, it's that, but like, you want to say the things that he says and the things the way he talks about people, the way he disrespects people. Like I said, I'm from Chicago, so like those type of people, we don't let you talk like that. So if you say something like that about people I know, people I respect, you're gonna get slapped, you're gonna get hurt. It's not gonna happen. So for me, it's all about, this is a sport, like you said, it's martial arts. So it's about respecting people. You don't have to sit there and there's ways to do trash talk, and there's ways being just very disrespectful to countries, to to groups of people, to Muslims, the way he's disrespected religion, he disrespected Habib, who's like the face of the Muslim MMA community, and like for him to do something like that and to like think it's all a part of the act. This ain't no act. When we see face to face, you're gonna know that your act just got you beat up.
Would a fight between you guys, if that did come to fruition, would it be hard to keep your emotions in check to a degree? Like, would that be something that you maybe not experienced going into the cage against a fighter before?
No, I mean, I've been in a bunch of street fights in my life that, you know, I had to do out of anger, and you see red and it's like that. So it's like, for me, I'm one of those guys where it's just another day in the office for me. I never get emotional when it comes down to fighting. I never get in the cage. I hate them, but I think it'll just build up for the lead up. That's the only time I get emotional, is just like leading up. But like, I'm one of those guys that could flip a switch where I could sit there and talk trash about you right now and be angry about you, but I don't even know you. But or I could just be calm, cool, and collected. Blah.
And last thing, you've talked several times over the years about this division, the guys aren't willing to fight below and things like that, and it's been harder for fighters like yourself to climb and get into the rankings and all that. Do you feel like for you to make this leap in your career that you plan to have Saturday night, it had to go down like this, like someone like a Leon who lost a big opponent, and it created an opportunity for someone like you?
Yeah, literally, me and my coach were talking about it too when they first booked this fight. We were like, man, watch. One of them's going to pull out. We have to be ready. We have to stay ready, because that's the only way these guys are going to say yeah, when they have to say yeah. Because if you would have offered him an 8-week camp against me, he's going to say, well, it's not worth it. Same way he did with Wonderboy. He said it wasn't worth it. Why am I going to fight down? I deserve this. He feels like he deserves all these things. And now he put in a situation where he had to say yes to this fight. And for me, like, I won 8 of my last 9. He's won 8 of his last 9. We have the same record. And I feel like I fought in tougher opponents. Why has he fought in tougher opponents? Because he's beat Donald Cerrone, he's beaten Dos Anjos, but those guys were all on losing streaks when he beat them. Those guys, they already had notes of how to beat them. And the guys that beat him before were Kobe and Usman, so he just followed the same playbook. So for me, I felt like I fought tougher guys that were coming off wins. And like Dustin Poirier always says, paid in full. Like, this was a long road. I had ups and I had downs, but I belong here. It's not one of those things where it was given to me. I had to earn this. I had to say yes to this fight. It wasn't like it was just given to me.
You gonna belong in the UFC video game after this one?
I'm gonna be like the Michael Jordan, where they can't put him in the game because he's so good.
Eryk, another good one here for you. I mean, Darren Stewart, it seems like consistently the one thing the UFC does for you is put you in good fights. I mean, they give you good opponents, good favorite, like in terms of fun stylistic matchups and stuff. How much do you kind of appreciate that in terms of just how they've been matchmaking you throughout your career?
You know, I think this is a fun one for the fans, for myself, for Darren. I think we're both very similar fighters, both strikers. You know, neither one of us are going to cower away or dance or run away when he get hit. You know, as far as my other matchups, you know, I've had you know, some guys that like to, you know, do exactly that: run, dance, and point fight. And you know, those really aren't very fun fights for me or for, you know, the fans. But this one, I think we're going to meet in the middle, touch gloves, and you know, let the leather fly. So I think for the fans, you know, this is what you want to see: two big guys meeting in the middle and you know, throwing heavy leather.
So do you maybe sense like a fight of the night here? Or do you think once that leather actually meets and slings, he's going to be the one to fall, and it might be more of a performance of the night type of deal?
Yeah, I think this fight is definitely a fight of the night contender. You know, he's never been knocked out. I've never been knocked out. So, you know, we're going to touch each other a lot, I would imagine, and, you know, see what happens.
Is that something you relish, like going in and seeing an opponent who's never been knocked out? Like, do you want to be the first, or do you have to maybe think in the back of your head, like, there might be a scenario that comes up and I hit this guy with my all and he might not go away, and then we have to figure out other ways to win after that comes?
Yeah, I'm quite confident in my ability to get a win, and, you know, I'm prepared to go the whole 15 if necessary. You know, I'm not one of those dudes who hit somebody with my best shot, and when they don't go down, they're like, oh my God, what am I going to do now? You know, I got, you know, plenty of stamina in the tank, and, you know, we'll you know, go the whole 15 if necessary.
Have you seen a lot of fighters, even some guys who maybe fought you, who have hit you with their all and you don't go down? Like, do you sense something? Is that something you can like feel in the cage, whether you're on the giving end of it or the receiving end of it?
I think that you know, a lot of fighters, they have their game plan, you know, and it's not like, you know, I've never been hit so much that the guy gets tired of hitting me, you know what I mean, or vice versa. So I don't think it's necessarily has anybody shook, but, you know, you've seen that in other fights where somebody takes their best shot and then they try to overwhelm them and can't, and they get tired, and then, you know, the other guy comes back and wins. But I don't see that happening in this one.
And last thing for me, where do you feel like you are in your career? I mean, you've only been in the UFC for a few years, but you've kind of done a lot of things, headline shows, fought former champions, things like that. I know maybe some of the results always haven't been what you wanted, but where would you kind of say you are right now, and what do you want to accomplish this year?
I don't know. It's a very streaky sport. It's a very what have you done for me lately sport. So you see guys like Jorge Masvidal win 3 straight, and then he's fighting for a belt, short notice or not. You know, so, you know, I definitely see myself cracking that top 15 this year. I think I'm more ready physically, mentally, and spiritually than I ever have been. And I know that's kind of cliche, but, man, I've done the most to get ready for this fight. And, you know, anything less than a win is unacceptable for me.
You mentioned the what have you done for me lately aspect of the sport. I'm always curious about how fighters view that when you get the Instagram comments and all that sort of shit from fans that just judge you on your last performance. How do you cope with that, and does that annoy you?
It doesn't annoy me. It comes with the territory. You know, you got to take the good with the bad, you know. It's just part of the game, you know. Whenever I win, you know, I'll have, you know, literally like 200, 300 text messages. When I lose, you know, my DMs will be flooded with people telling me how much money I owe them, you know, for betting on me or whatnot. So, you know, I want those same people to hit me with the DM after they win with a, you know, I think 10% of whatever they win would be fair.
You mentioned that when you win, you get all these texts and stuff. When you lose, do those people not text you?
There's a substantially fewer amount of text messages and positive direct messages, you know. But like I said, it's part of the game. It comes with it, you know. So, you know, win, lose, or draw, on to the next.
Do you think all that stuff kind of adds up to make you mentally tougher? Like, even as a fighter, like, just, you know, you're used to fickleness, right? Like, and it just, you sort of have to look at things through a different lens than most other people. Do you think that makes you tougher?
Oh man, you know, I take it with a grain of salt. You know, those people aren't in the training. You know, and people aren't the one getting in there, getting hit and fighting and doing all those things. Even the good text messages, you know, I don't really necessarily care or respond. You know, there's certain people, you know, family, close friends, training partners. These are the people I care to hear about, and those are the people that are going to be there, win, lose, or draw. So, you know, even, like I said, even when I get the, you know, congratulations from people I haven't talked to in years, you know, I take that with a grain of salt too.
Good luck on Saturday, man.
Thank you, sir.
It hasn't been quite a year since the last time you were in there, but what has changed within yourself since that time? Is it just sharpening the skills? Has there been a mental change? What would you say is the biggest difference of you now from when you walked into that fight week?
Man, I'm not the same person. I'm not the same fighter. you know, I've done the most for this camp. You know, my wife and I bought a house. I spent the night, got the call, and was on a plane out to Arizona the next day. You know, I haven't seen my wife or kids in about 2 months. So, you know, I've invested a lot. They've invested a lot. And, you know, it's imperative that I go out there and get a win. You know, a win on Saturday validates everything that I did.
You've only spent one night in your brand new house?
Yep, one night. Spent the night, unpacked some boxes, and was on a flight the next morning.
Are they enjoying the house, hopefully?
I hope so. Yeah, you know, I got a nice backyard, nice neighborhood. You know, it's kind of like, man, when I was a kid, we never lived in a neighborhood where people brought you food when you moved in. You know, it's like wherever the Beavers lived.
Out in the suburbs. You out in the suburbs now.
Yeah, you know, we upgraded. You know, we upgraded our life a little bit. So, you know, they're reaping all the benefits, and you know, I hope to experience that stuff when I get home.
Well, taking a quick look at your opponent that you're facing this Saturday, break him down for me. Where's he the most dangerous, and what sort of things are you expecting to see when you step into the cage on Saturday?
Man, it's no secret. He's a striker. You know, he fancies the striking. He throws hard. And he's got great stamina. He'll be there for the whole 15 too. I don't remember ever seeing him get tired or start to fade in the later rounds. So I think he'll be dangerous the whole fight. Like I said, he hits hard, and yeah, so do I.
I was going to say, on the flip side, what are the keys for you to make sure you get the victory? Is it just landing the strong punches? I mean, what is it for you that needs to happen to make sure you get your arm raised at the end of the night?
I think output has been my biggest downfall in all the fights that I've lost, I think. You know, they've just, you know, touched me a little bit more, and my output quite wasn't there. And that was one of the main focuses on this training camp, was to get my punch count higher, my strike count higher, and you know, just kind of improve my overall fight IQ. And been working with Eddie Cha, and you know, we've seen some of the guys that he's had in the UFC, Santino, DeFranco, and man, these guys are winners, and they put winners out there, and they know how to win fights and get the job done.
And should you get the job done, what sort of goals are you setting for yourself for the rest of 2021?
I like to stay active. So, you know, I think I'd like to fight, you know, 3 times this year. Not looking ahead, so, you know, go out there, take care of Stewart, and then, you know, I know Texas is opening up, and I know Dana's chomping at the bit. I'm from Texas, so, I think only once in my, you know, amateur and pro career, it's over 40 fights that I've fought in Texas, so maybe twice, actually. So, man, it would be great to be on one of those first cards with fans in my home state.
Well, if you got any connections with the mayors and stuff, Dana seems like he needs a little bit of help out there, so maybe you can give some people some phone calls.
Now, I'll see what I can do in San Antonio. If they make San Antonio happen, then, you know, I'm there. Whether they put me on the card or not, I'm fighting somebody that night. And
I think it's safe to say we know how you're celebrating by going back to actually get to enjoy your house.
Yeah, you know, we got a new bed too, so I didn't even get to sleep in that. So, you know, I'm missing out on a lot, but, you know, my wife and kids, they appreciate it. They understand what it is and what I'm trying to do, and they're on board, so it makes it so much easier.
Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
What's up? What's up?
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm all right. Bit tired.
Yeah.
How's training camp going?
Training camp has been really good. I trained at elevation for this one, so mix it up a little bit. But yeah, it's been really good.
What's elevation like?
Elevation's awesome. You know, we got a great group of not only training partners, but coaches that have learned from each other from coming out from fight week to fight week. So it's been really good.
And it's been over a year between fights for you. What did you make of the layoff?
It was really rough. I think the injury and a loss. You know, you take a loss, you want to get back in there right away, but the losing and then the hand, it probably helped me out in the end, but it was hard at the time because I had to take that time off and get better and not just jump back in there like I would have wanted to. But I think taking the time off and getting better is what I needed, so it was worked out to be good.
And it's been a few fights since the change of weight class. Does this time at all give you maybe a little extra space to adjust more to the division physically?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I put on some new muscles. Just grappling and, you know, punching and everything. I feel like my body's maintained a better weight than when I was going to 115. I never missed weight at 115, so I don't think a lot of people realize how hard it was for me to get to 115. But it was definitely a struggle, and I think making 125 over and over again, I don't have that bounce back as bad, so I'm able to regulate a little bit more, put on better muscle, and not just cut out muscle the whole time I'm in training camp.
So how is the weight cut so far?
The weight cut's going great. I was a little bit nervous, not because I was heavy or anything, I just haven't done it for over a year. Weight cutting sucks no matter if you have 1 pound or 10, so it's always a nerve-wracking thing, but it's been going according to plan so far, so.
Do you ever worry about the weight cut that, like you said, it's been a year since you've done it, that maybe your body will just be like, nah?
Yeah, for sure. You know, especially this time, like I said, there's no problem with my weight cut. It goes to according to plan, just like every other time. But I think it's just a nerve thing, you know, not doing it for a while.
But all okay so far?
What'd you say?
All okay so far?
Yeah, for sure.
What do you just make of the matchup with Cortney?
I think it's going to be a great fight. I know we were supposed to, well, I got offered the fight originally this summer, but I was still injured, so they booked her a couple fights. But I think it's an exciting matchup, and that's why they came back to it as soon as I was able to.
And her record, I think, is a little bit deceiving, considering the competitive nature of a lot of her fights. Do you think some people maybe overlook her in that regard?
I think if you're a real fight fan, you shouldn't, because if you look at the people she's fought tough vets. So, I mean, if you're just going off a record standpoint, maybe you overlook her, but if you look at her opponents, no, she's definitely a tough vet.
How do you just see the fight unfolding here, and do you have a prediction?
No prediction. You know, I think every fight is different. No matter, you could see your game plan going one way, but you got to be able to adapt in there. It's a fight. It's not a sparring session or training session. It's a fight. So, you know, I could come out with one game plan and see something different. Got to switch it up in the moment. So, no predictions, but I think it's gonna be a breakout fight for me, I believe.
And in that case, what do you kind of think it sets you up for in regards to the rest of the year?
I just want to be super active this year. You know, I want to go out and make a statement and get a turnaround fight pretty fast.
And it's obviously been a little while with the long break after the last fight. Since you've had a win, are you really craving that feeling of getting your hand raised again?
Yeah, for sure. I got a long year to make up for. You know, it's been over a year, so I got a lot of fights, a lot of victories, and a lot of I don't know. It's just that hunger. You know, you don't just crave the fight; you crave the outcome of the fight and getting better after that fight. So yeah, I got a lot to make up for.
Awesome. Thank you, JJ.
Thank you, guys.
Just a couple questions. How is the hand and the overall recovery? I know some fighters, you know, they never get fully back to 100% before they get back in there. Does the hand feel about 100% or as close as you think it will be?
I think it's stronger than it was. You know, I feel like I didn't have any problems with it. I think my coaches, you know, as eager as I was to get back to training, I have really good people around me to make me wait and make sure that I don't just keep injuring it like I feel a lot of people do, you know. Like Paige, you know, she broke her arm and broke it again. So I think I'm lucky, although I hated him at the time, I'm lucky that I have the people around me I do that made me sit down and say, no, you're not punching until it's 1,000% ready, not 100% ready.
And the last time that you came in, I believe, was a big difference in the sense of you were in an arena, and now you're fighting in a room that's just going to be your corners and your opponents and their corners for the most part. Are you looking forward to that difference, or are you missing the fact that you're not going to have a crowd out there sort of welcoming you back?
I'm glad I'm not missing the whole COVID experience, I guess, is kind of a weird thing to say, but yeah, the last one I fought was for the undercard of Connor, so it was like huge compared to the Apex, which is just tiny. So I fought on the Ultimate Fighter before, so I'm not as nervous as maybe I would be if I hadn't had that experience prior. I think it's going to work out in my favor because I could hear my coaches so clearly, but I could also hear her corners, and I know it's vice versa, but I just feel like I'll be able to concentrate and not get swept up in the moment. But yeah, I think all experience is good experience and going to make you better. And I draw from my past experiences, and I've been on the Ultimate Fighter, so it's not something I'm really too nervous about.
And lastly, for me, one of the sites that I checked, you were the favorite coming in here. I'm not sure if that's something that happens often with you coming in there. I think sometimes I see it, and you tend to be the shorter of the fighters, so I think a lot of times you get the underdog tag thrown on you sometimes. Is it nice to have to come in as, I guess, the favorite in this one? And is that something that you even look at going into a fight?
I don't pay attention. I know that people like tag me and stuff, so like it gets brought to my attention. But I guess it's kind of nice to finally be like, yeah, like put me as a favorite because that's where I'm supposed to be, you know? Like put some, yeah, I am a 25er. I'm not a 15er. I'm not a small 25er. So yeah, it's nice. Especially fighting somebody like Cortney, who's a tough vet, and you know she has a pretty decent name, you know. So I'm excited that yeah, people are finally starting to realize.
And lastly, to that you mentioned it, do you feel that she doesn't get the respect that she should? It seems that she's another one that people tend to overlook as well. Do you feel like that people are overlooking her a lot of times on how dangerous that she can be?
Like I said, I think if you've seen her fights, if you're a real MMA fan and you've watched past fights and you know what's up, then you shouldn't. I'm not sure if people do. I think she's also moving up from 15 to 25, so maybe people see that. I don't know. But yeah, the people she's fought are super tough, and you know she's fought the best of the best at 115. So I think it's gonna be a great matchup, and I think maybe we're both people that people tend to overlook, but I think they're in for a really good matchup.
So what needs to happen on Saturday night to make sure that you get your arms raised?
I just got to go in there and do everything that we've worked on the entire fight camp. You know, I've had a year to envision the outcome of my next bout, no matter who it's against. I just got to go out there and do what I want to do and not really worry about what she's going to do.
Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
Gavin, a huge fight for you here, man. Just to get this opportunity after the road you've had so far in the UFC, is this just kind of feeling like you're finally where you want and need to be?
They're all big fights, you know. So I try not to think about that, the pressure that comes with top 10 fights and stuff like that. Of course, I'm grateful. What an opportunity. But I'm just going to treat it like I do every other fight. Focus more on the specifics of what it takes to win rather than what the fight means after the fact, because that's not a thing unless you do what's necessary first. So.
And before this fight came to be, there was reports out there that you were going to be fighting Cub Swanson. Can you just talk about exactly what happened with that from your perspective? Because it seems like it was maybe never actually over kind of the finish line in terms of being made.
Yeah, I can only speak from my perspective. I thought the fight was done. I'm not sure what went on the backside of from the industry into things, but I accepted the fight, and I was, obviously honored to fight Cub. Cub's a legend, and I'm not sure what happened, if it was injury or miscommunication or whatever. From my end, we accepted and moved forward, and I thought it was there because it had gotten announced on some websites and media pages I saw, so I just assumed, okay, we're in business and moved forward, and then later found out it wasn't, so I'm not sure. I wish him the best. Hopefully there's no injury or anything of that nature, but yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened, and then I got a call, obviously, for Ige, so at the end of the day, I jumped the queue on that one, so it turned out fine either way.
I was going to say, I'm sure, Cub, like you said, a legend, a big name, I'm sure you want to fight him, but to have this as the alternative, obviously Dan coming off a main event, ranked and all that stuff, it probably makes accepting maybe any disappointment there a little bit easier.
Yeah, they're all tough. Like every fight's a big fight, whether they're ranked or not. And Cub was number 5 in the world, I think, at one point, maybe even higher. So I think people kind of seem to forget that as well. But yeah, obviously this one's got a number beside it and bigger rewards, and so I'm grateful. Big opportunity. I think it says a lot about Dan as a competitor as well, to be able to kind of pay things forward. The chances he got, he's paying them forward to me. So it's a lot of respect there and appreciation. And I think we're going to have a great competition on Saturday.
Yeah, it's great to hear that, or hear you say that, because Dan was here earlier and he basically said as much that people have given me my opportunities and I feel like it's kind of my responsibility to give Gavin his chance. Do you think that's something maybe in the fight game, especially these days with UFC rankings and those kind of things, like enough people aren't willing to do that to a degree?
Yeah, but Dan's a different kind of fighter. I think as a man, you can see that, and his team around him, Coach Eryk and guys like that, I have a lot of respect for. They seem to do things a really solid way, and address and go forward with respect in a really solid way. So only expect that from him. I don't know. I can't tell you about what the other competitors are like. I know the top 10, top 5 has been tied up for a long time. Maybe guys don't want to pay it back, but that's not something that I know for certain. I see a lot less movement in the top 10 than I do in the rest of the division. I don't know if fights there are harder to match, and I can't imagine Sean Shelby's job is very easy, especially when you're looking at the top guys and how it all sorts out. But Dan's been consistent since he started, and he wants to fight, and I know he lost his opponent, so I'm very, very happy to step in and very happy he's given the opportunity, and the UFC's given me the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, in terms of your training, are you a guy that's just constantly always ready? Because obviously the Cub fight was supposed to happen in May, and this is significantly sooner. So how did you feel, in terms of the training, do you feel like you got all the time you needed for this fight?
Yeah, I fight every Saturday. I fight every Saturday at Titans MMA in Halifax. I fight every Saturday. So this is a great opportunity. People say short notice, and I just dismiss it. I've been ready. And since the last fight, my first fight, I got a bonus in. I put a home gym in. I've been training the whole month of January. I've been doing 3-a-days, velocity-based training, worked on my eyes, worked on everything. There's so many big improvements I've made. So as far as people thinking I'm coming off a 3-week camp, that's just not the case. That's just not the case. And people won't be able to say it after I win. He did it on 3 weeks or whatever. I put in a full camp. I came here at a great weight. I came in at the best weight I've come in on. My diet's on point, my training's on point, and I'm living the life. So that when these opportunities come up, they're my opportunities to take.
Great to hear. And last thing for me, I'm sure you get this question a lot back home, but as the Canadian in the room myself, I'm sure I kind of got to ask, like, in terms of the promising Canadian talent, it seems like you're really just trending towards the right direction and being one of the prominent names. Do you embrace that at all? I mean, it seems like in the post-GSP, Rory McDonald era in the UFC, there just hasn't been that person. Is that like a role you want to fill? Do you even care? Is it something you're passionate about? What would you kind of say in terms of that?
Again, it's not something that I personally focus on as far as what I want to be to other people, because the first thing that has to get handled are the specifics to get these victories. The after effect, the thing, I'm from a small town in Canada too, Newfoundland, or a small town in Newfoundland in Canada. So my main motivation is to fight, and I want to represent myself well and the country well. I have Firas in the corner, who's obviously guided a lot of people into doing the same, and I'm going to do what I do, show respect, and do that typical Canadian thing that we do, and go in there and win fights, and hopefully do it in the right way that people can look at and say, he's a respectful kid. He's not in here trying to make money or just gain Instagram followers or money. I'm here for truth and victory.
When I hear you talk about Dan, I can hear a lot of respect in your voice, especially when you said that him and his team do things like a good way in this sport. They don't sort of pick and choose their fights. Do you wish that was the norm? Because that's rarer and rarer almost, it seems, in this sport.
I hate to say this again, but I don't think about it too much. I think that at the end of the day, everyone's trying to protect their careers and have a good career and make money, feed their families and stuff like that. So I think it depends on who you are, where you are, what your team is, how much you have to lose, how much you have to gain, how many mouths you have to feed, everything else. So I'm not trying to judge people for not doing it, but I think at the end of the day, fighters fight. It's like, can you go? Yes, then go. And that's just what it is. This is the job. It comes with the stresses. They're normal stresses. And I've been laid up for a long time too, and people may make assumptions. But my main thing was health. I trained myself into holes and trenches constantly, and I think that a lot of these fighters, like I say, that haven't fought in over a year, that are healthy, or people that are out on USADA suspensions, and not to make assumptions and stuff like that too. But I'm not really certain on why things get tied up. But it's great to see, for shows and from a fan's perspective, to see competitors being consistent and constant. Champions fight a lot less, and the top contenders seem to fight a lot less. My goal is to get into these top rankings and not have that happen. Just go on keep that steady momentum, steady consistency. Make time for growth, of course, because you can't fight every back to back and have solid fundamental growth in between where you get to walk away and work on certain aspects of the sport. But at the end of the day, I think consistency is really important in this sport, because you have a small shelf life, and that runs out very fast. Like I said earlier, I'm in my 30s right now, so I know that I'm in or approaching my physical prime, and the time is now to kind of make this stuff happen. So to answer your question, I'm not sure that I can say whether or not people should fight more, or I wish it was more of an old school mentality where fighters just fight everyone that they're offered. But for me, I'm always gonna be here as long as my health is in place and it works out on a personal end. I'm always gonna be here to compete, because I love competing.
Thanks very much.
Dan had mentioned he likes your fight style, and he thought he saw some similarities between the two of you, and it was almost that he was excited because he knew that he would have somebody that was willing to go forward and meet him in the middle. Do you see similarities between your fight styles as well?
Yeah, I think there's certain things that are similar. That's funny. He said he thinks I'm going to come forward and meet him in the middle. Is it?
Somewhat long. I could be paraphrasing it, but it seemed like he was excited. Like he knew that you weren't going to be afraid to throw down.
Yeah, I mean, yes, we're getting in there to fight. There's going to definitely be that. But at the end of the day, I think there's more differences and distinctions than there are similarities. And I was talking to my striking coach, Coco, about this earlier, the difference in technical and tactical application. So I think you might see some stuff. Dan is, on paper, maybe you wouldn't see him as the type of striker who could get in there and compete with a guy like Barbosa or have the boxing prowess of Qatar, yet he gets in and has close contests and a striking context with them. And this is not because of his technical prowess, it's because of his tactical application. And I don't know if that comes from Eryk or comes from what, but where he puts the fight, which range he controls, where his strengths are, stuff like this, is very specific, you know. And I think you can see similarities, but if you look at my fights, I bring something different every fight, every single one, and I try to tailor it to the guy that I'm about to fight with. So I do see some similarities, but mostly physical in height, reach, certain applications and stuff like that too. But I do believe there's more distinction, there's more differences than there are similarities.
And that kind of goes to one of the themes that sort of happened today was we did have a lot of fighters that came in and said, I don't watch tape on my opponent. I don't really look at my opponent.
That's crazy.
You sound completely opposite in that sense, where it sounds like you've done the tape work yourself as well. Mm-hmm. Is that typical for you going into a fight? Do you like to do a lot of studying with your opponent?
And you can ask these boys behind you. I'm an absolute psychopath for that. I can tell you which Dan holds the fork in and which hand he holds the knife in to cut a steak. You know, like I'm not messing around when it comes to this. If we're on the ground and he turns a direction to get up, I know which direction that's going to be ahead of time. I like tape because I like the sport as a sport too, you know, and I think looking at it from a strategical standpoint gives you a lot. And that kind of work, for some people maybe it makes them anxious. I don't know why you wouldn't watch tape, but it's a sport at the end of the day. So the more information you can have to weaponize, why wouldn't you? This is crazy to me. And it doesn't have to be the fighters watching tape. You know, it comes down to competence as well. Maybe you're not the type of guy who has eyes that can take these things, but someone has to fucking watch tape. That's insane if you're not watching tape. You just show up and treat it like someone just walked into your gym on a Saturday and you're about to spar. That's, hey, I don't mean to judge. If that's the method, and that's what you enjoy. But I'm here to climb, and I'm not going to climb without intelligence and just leave that behind. And so I like tape, and my team likes tape. And Firas is joining us tomorrow, and he likes tape. Every one of us, we like tape.
It sounds obviously that you like tape.
I like tape.
And I think just to pique your analytical side of the brain, and you already kind of touched on it as well. But if you had to lay out where he is the most dangerous and where the factors that you need to pay attention and watch for going in on Saturday, what would be those dangers that you have to keep an eye out for?
It depends on how he approaches the fight. It depends on which range he wants the fight to be in, which facet of the game he wants it to be in, whether he wants to engage in grappling, whether that's clinching, wall work, or groundwork. And it depends on his hesitancy. If he decides he's gonna, like you said earlier, I really paid attention to the fact that you said he said you guys will meet in the middle and throw down and scrap. That delivers a message of where the mentality is. You know what I'm saying? Do you send me a message of what you just said? So it depends. It depends. I think I can't say that for sure because we don't know, and these fights are just a lot of times so competitive they're a coin flip. But I can guarantee you that we're going to have a period of time where we're trying to discover each other's intentions. And I think the person who discovers the intentions first and then has a solid set plan to capitalize on what to do about it is going to be the guy who ends up taking control, at least in the first round. And then coming back to the third, I think, is where you're going to see more of the statement that Dan had made. The third is going to be, if it sees the third, it's going to be one of those telltale moments for what fighters do.
And you had mentioned that this fight poses bigger rewards. Does that mean you expect with a good finish or anything that you should at least take that top 10 position? Or, I mean, I believe the UFC has him at number 9. I know those rankings are kind of just weird at times, but do you see yourself with a good finish here, jumping into that top 10?
The rewards I have, this sport has rewarded me every week. Preparing for these fights has made me grow so much as a martial artist. When we talk about rewards, I'm speaking to you. So in the theme of industry versus artistry, artistically I've been rewarded already. Industry-wise, I think that there's no question I should have a number next to the name. If he's ranked number 9 and I beat 9, then it wouldn't make any sense that I wouldn't be at least 9 to me. But I don't know how these rankings works, and I'm not sure anyone does at this point when I look back on how they're set up and sometimes who's there. But the reward should be what you fight for, and from an industry point of view and the UFC point of view, what we're fighting for is the number 9 spot, and so that seems to be like obvious. Otherwise, he would not have anything to gain from fighting backwards. He should be able to ascend from victories, and I should be able to ascend from victories. Otherwise, we get a lot of what you asked in questions earlier, people that are not willing to risk it for the biscuit, you know, and then no one moves up, and things stay at a standstill for long periods of time, and you know, the matchmakers are pulling their hair out, and the industry owners and leaders are pulling their hair out, trying to be frustrated dealing with personalities rather than athletes. I think, I don't know. I mean, I could change my mind in 5 minutes. I don't really know, but in this moment, that's how I feel.
And obviously, it seems the industry rewards are the ones that are going to may pay out financially and the different benefits. But when you think about, I guess, when you touched on the artistry rewards and what that means for yourself, which is more important?
Yeah,
to you?
I'm not here for money or likes on Instagram. Right? I love this sport. I'm here for blood and truth. And that's the important things to me, to see who's supposed to be at the top of this division, and who's earned their spot, and that's the most important thing.
And lastly, you have a couple wins here in this building. Do you feel like you got the home field advantage coming into this one?
I mean, he's from Vegas. I think he maybe trains here sometimes at the Apex. I told my coaches earlier, I just found familiarity. I just found my footing after the last fight, where I can come in with a pretty good pattern of what to expect and what to feel come fight night, and what it feels like in there, what the lights feel like, what the canvas feels like on the bottom skin of the feet, and everything else. So I do feel like at this point, I'm going to be able to bring a very authentic version of what I think is going to be close to my optimal self, and that's the goal, to bring in the best version of me, because I know he's going to get it done.
Best of luck.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. Nice.
So let's get to it, man. Megan and Harry, what's going on?
Don't have a. You know, as soon as you said that, yeah, the memes on my head. Sorry.
Literally, my friends are sitting there sending me them over and over again.
What's going on there? I don't have a clue. I'm still catching up. I saw the memes first, and then my missus was telling me a bit about it. I was like, okay, cool, but it's life, innit?
People fall out.
Yeah, exactly. So,
how you feeling before fight night, man? A couple of days out. How you feeling?
I'm alright, man. Normal, nothing new. You know what I mean?
Craving the white chocolate again?
Yeah. Was in the Whole Foods. I couldn't find none. Don't understand why. Don't understand why.
We'll sort you out on fight night. What'd you make of your opponent, man? What'd you make of Eryk?
He's alright. I'm faster than him, quicker than him. Got more cardio endurance than him. He likes to come forward. No one's giving that pressure to put him on the back foot. So he likes to play that kind of like a bully role, like I'm coming forward, but I don't think he's really got it, like the heart, do you know what I mean? Everyone says he's got the heart, but we'll see.
Do you think it's, so with that in mind, do you think it's going to be one of those things where maybe he'll meet you in the middle for a couple of minutes and then you'll slowly push your will over his and he'll start to will?
I will keep on creeping. I'll be like a bad smell. Like, I'm different. If you watch me fight, don't ever try and prepare for me, man, because it's long. Every fight is different. And I've improved since the Kevin Holland one. Like, cardio's through the roof, the pressure's through the roof. Like, yeah, exactly what you said. It will exchange for a bit. He might back off. I'll just keep coming and coming and coming. You have to kill me.
Sweet, man. Dude, it sounds like you've already got it in your mind. You visualized it. It sounds like you've already seen it play out.
Yeah, I've been doing it. I've been working. Do you know what I mean? I've been working. Since the Kevin Holland fight, I've been working. Gym just shut back in the UK, but I've been working. Do you know what I mean? A couple of gyms are open here and there for pro fighters or whatever, but me and my coach have been working. You know, when everyone over here probably thinks, what's Darren doing? We're working, we're right, jogging, like in the fields, night time, you know, like headlamp on, like in swamps, like, you know what I mean? Feet, it will tell you, my coach there will tell you, feet wet. Then after that, I'm riding home. Like, we're working. We ain't got the PI in my country, you know what I mean? So it's like, we got to do what we got. So I've been working.
How has it been with the lockdown? Because obviously over there in the UK, it's much stricter than in America.
Yeah, it's been crap. Nothing's changed. It's hard, man. It's mentally draining. Like, we got nothing to work with over there. Then you got to do that for 8 to 10 weeks. I don't even call it a camp. I ain't had a camp since, 2021, so what? 2019, innit? Yeah, I ain't had a camp. So I don't know what a camp is. But, yeah, it's terrible. You know, got to make it do what we got. Do that for 8 to 10 weeks. Travel all this way here. Mask this, test that. And now they've been even more strict at the hotel now. You can't go for a walk. You can't go for a little jog, do you know what I mean? Like, it's getting worse, man. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, oh, this is long. But obviously my missus keeps saying to me, look what you're doing it for. Do you know what I mean? You're doing it for your family. This is what I'm trying to say to people all the time. I don't care about rankings. I don't care about belts. I don't care about all that. The pandemic has opened my mind up and made me realize that, do you know what I mean? I'm all about making my bread. Come out here, smash someone's face in, get my money and go. Do you know what I mean? I'm all about making bread for my family, yeah, and making the community a better place. You know, since the lockdown in my country, schools were shutting. What does that mean? More kids on the street, stabbing each other. So I'm trying to get all this bread for my family, get enough money to create some sort of fund, you know, make the community a better place. These ranking record and win and belts is not on my mind at the moment. My vision is making the community a better place and provide for my family.
It's funny you say about the community being a better place, because Leon, I think Jimmy Manuel and Darren Stewart, they're involved in a charity about trying to stop kids with knife crime. Is that something you'd like to get involved with?
Yeah, man. They just shout me, you know what I mean? And I'll jump in, I'll get involved. That's more important. Like I said, when things go back to normal, we can start sitting down and say, okay, yeah, fight this, fight that. If you fight him, you get number 10 and blah, 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 blah. But I don't care right now. I'm about making the money. You know what I mean? Make my money, feed the family, because like I said, this is my only job. I don't have a part-time job on the side like I used to. I ain't fought since September. So I'm living on what I made from September all the way up until now. Do you know what I mean? If I've got time to be thinking about rankings, I'm thinking about where to get my next money from. Do you know what I mean? Get my bread. And like I said, don't keep repeating myself, but like I said, once the family's sorted, then open up some sort of funding. And, you know, because this lockdown, let's be real, this lockdown is going to happen again in the UK proper. They're trying to open up things again, but it's going to happen again. But at least I'll be more prepared, you know what I mean? Okay, schools are shut again, where are the kids going? Do a little talk for them, do you know what I mean? Walk around and chat to them, you know. I won't say nothing, but give me that knife and I'll deal with it, I'll take it away, and, you know, stuff like that. That's what I'm about.
In your opinion, and it's like, there's obviously so many factors, but in your opinion, why is knife crime such a big thing in the UK, particularly in London?
Because everyone cares about being the best, having the best things and postcode, and it's petty, it's crazy, do you know what I mean? Like, I make a track and you said something, yeah, I don't like what you said, I want to stab you. Why? Like, do you know what I mean? Have an old school fist fight, do you know what I mean? Set it out, do you know what I mean? Do that instead. Why have to go and stab each other, do you know what I mean? It's getting bad, and the lockdown made it worse. I know a few people have been passed away, do you know what I mean? Lockdown made it worse. So right now, we need to do something about it, like keep them off the street. It's not easy. It's not easy, I'm not going to get into it, there's more to it, but it's not easy, but I want to try and, you know, like when you retire, yeah, what did you do, Dal? I'd rather people say, yo, like, all right, this guy made a bit of money for his family and he helped get the kids off the street, than, oh, yeah, he's in the top 10. I don't give a shit about that. I'm trying to, like, get my money and provide for the family and help the community, honestly. I'll come out here, I'll fight Saturday, I'll come again. More money, more money, more money.
Is there are you going to stick around for a couple of days, considering it's a bit more open here? Maybe go to a pub?
I don't know. I don't want to say yeah, and then it don't happen. It happened last time. I had a little cut on my head, and they suspended me for 30 days. So it didn't make sense to stay out here. Do you know what I mean? I have to go back to my family. So I don't want to sit there and tell you yeah, but if it's there, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Good luck on Saturday, man.
Thank you.
Darren, I know how you talked a lot about, you know, it's no concern of the rankings and title shots and things like that, but you obviously know that it all comes hand in hand, right? Like the more you win, the higher you climb, that's where the more money and all those things come, right? So
of course.
Is it hard to kind of separate those two things, like not thinking too far ahead of where, you know, the winning does take you in regards to your goals and security and those kind of things?
I think my mindset's in the right place right now. If I think too much about rankings, I put a lot of pressure on myself. Do you know what I mean? To me, it's like, if I perform, the money will come. Do you know what I mean? Perform, the money will come. And then behind that, I've got to provide for my family. And you perform, you win. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to go in there thinking about rankings. I'm going there thinking to perform. You know, when we get that talk, yeah, about, we weigh in, we get that talk, yeah, and the big man saying, yo, like, 50 bags on the line, yeah, he's not saying to you, yeah, man, 50 bags on the line, go and get in the rankings. Or 50 bags on the line, go get a belt. Or 50 bags on the line, go get the win. He's saying, go get your effing money. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, yeah, I like that. Go get your money. Go get your money, yeah, perform, and the rankings will come and everything else will fall in place.
Did any of that mentality stem from the last fight? I mean, do you look at how close it was with Kevin Holland and feeling you probably could have won that fight and should have won that fight, and then seeing where he is now?
Yeah, it's frustrating, man, because like I was saying to my man here, we got it hard back home. I'm out there jogging in parks. You're putting in mad work, 8 to 10 weeks, 10-hour flights to get here, all of that for that decision. It's draining. Then you've got to say to yourself, you've got to be mentally strong and say to yourself, raw, do I want to continue? Is there another chance of me coming out and happening again and again and again? So it's clear to see that UK guys can't go to decision. It's either you knock me out or I knock you out. That's what it is. Can't go decision. It's happened. It's too much now. Do you know what I mean? It does affect me mentally, but it is what it is. We move.
Last thing, not to get onto a depressing note here, but UK referee Neil Hall, who refed some of your amateur fights back in 2013. I'm not sure if you actually remember him. Maybe not.
The chubby one.
I believe
kind of
so.
chubby. Yeah.
Yeah, he actually passed away today. And it was
Are you serious?
Yeah. So I guess maybe you didn't have that close of a relationship. It sounds like he had COVID complications.
No, I know of him, yeah, but I never understood why I ain't seen him for ages.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Sorry.
No, yeah, I was just gonna ask if you had any anecdotes or anything like that, but it sounds like you didn't have a personal relationship of any kind.
No, because I ain't seen it for time. Now you mentioned I ain't seen it for time. I never did ask about where's he been, but flipping, what happened? What like?
It sounds like here that his family announced that he was in the hospital getting back surgery and he had COVID complications.
So what was he doing before that? Let's say years. Like, was he still refereeing? I didn't even see him. I mean,
I believe so. I'm not sure how recently his last bits of work was, but he's obviously a pretty well-known ref over on the UK scene, and I think he was pretty well respected for obviously his work and some of his fights.
In peace, man. I didn't mean to say chubby one. It's just how I remembered him. Sorry about that. Yeah, but flipping out.
Sorry, didn't intend it on a sad note, but I was just obviously curious if you guys had any sort of relationship. But
bloody hell, man. You see what I'm trying to say, though? How life is so short. Like, it's mad. Like, it's mad.
Yeah, no.
Speaking, going back to the UK, I asked some of the fighters earlier what they thought the current state of MMA in the UK was right now, in terms of the level of fighters, how much activity that's getting done over there, how much respect. What would you say is the current state of MMA in the UK right now?
There's nothing going on. That's why we're here. There's nothing going on, nothing at all. Nothing for the pros, nothing for the amateurs. Yeah, I don't know if I have to answer that question. I mean, maybe someone knows more different, but I'm just talking about how I'm dealing with things. I don't see nothing going on.
Do you think it's going to maybe stagnate things a little bit since things have kind of shut down over there? Do you think it's going to find it harder for the next generation of fighters right now to be growing and getting better right now because of it?
Nah, it won't be hard. There's a lot of amateurs coming up in the game. There's a lot of fighters there, but they can't do nothing yet unless you're a pro. Do you know what I mean? So when things go back to normal, it will just be a mad outburst. I believe that, but nothing's happening right now. Like it's terrible. I'm even telling some amateur fighters just go pro, man. Yeah, it's depressing for them. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. Nothing's happening. And even in the real world, when things are normal, what was happening anyway? I mean, yeah, it had a couple shows. UFC will come, got Cage Warriors, Bellator. But, yeah, nothing's happening right now. Not that I know of anyway.
Yeah. And speaking of here, you mentioned how you were locked down a little bit more and you weren't able to leave the room. The hotel, they wouldn't let you leave. Were they still sort of transporting you guys to the PI? Are you guys able to come train at the PI?
Yeah, PI. Or Whole Foods. You can't go to the strip for a jog. You can't go for a walk. Like, you're just in there. And then it's even worse when you're getting your test done. Like, you're in your room. Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, it's long. I'm trying not to talk about it so much and trying to stay motivated. You know what I mean? Because like I said, like, you guys are here. We travel so long. You know what I mean? Like, it's mentally draining. And obviously your cutting weight don't help as well. But hopefully when I get to eat, I'll see a different vision. So.
Apologies, I keep bringing it up. I'm not sure if this is a good distraction now for you.
It's okay. No, it's okay. I mean, you got to ask what you got to ask, and I'm just telling you the truth, innit? Like,
for sure.
I don't know if it can get any worse.
Well, speaking of just a couple more, and you kind of touched on a little bit earlier, but break down your opponent for me. Where's he dangerous? What sort of things do you really need to watch out for when you step into the cage on Saturday?
I don't have to answer that, man. I don't, because what he brings is what I ain't been through. Do you know what I mean? So I can repeat myself, but I've said it for other fighters. Okay, he hits heavy. Yeah, he's a big guy. He comes to fight. That's what you're meant to do. Like I've been through it all. I don't believe he's fought someone, with my speed and my endurance and my cardio. I don't believe that. Yeah, he's been there. He's like, I've got to respect it as well. Like, it's Eryk, innit? He's been about. Do you know what I mean? So I'm all about fighting the best. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like I don't look at my record and say, oh, who's Darren fought? Do you know what I mean? I don't turn down fights. I fight anyone. Do you know what I mean? But what he brings to the table, nothing I ain't been in. I fought big guys, small guys, long guys, short guys, jiu-jitsu guys, striking guys, quiet guys, big mouth guys. I know, like, do you know what I mean? He's another big guy. All right.
Do you think it's that experience that will win the victory that day, or what sort of things need to line up to make sure that you get your arm raised on Saturday night?
Experience from who?
Just experience. Are you dealing with all those different sorts of fighters?
Oh yeah. Experience is big. He's got experience. I've got experience. Like, besides MMA, no one really talks about this, but besides MMA, I've been doing martial arts since probably 13, 14 years old. Been fighting. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I can't tell you how many fights I've had. Obviously, everything's done on paper. People just go by, oh wow, Darren's 12-6. You know my experience, innit? I've been fighting for a long time. I'm dehydrated now, but yeah, you do the maths. Been fighting for a long time, so, and even in Taekwondo, I was in like plus hundreds, but I was small, and they were bigger than me, do you know what I mean? I'm training my cousin with my coach, top judo guy, and he's coach. I'm training with all big people that I feel like is faster than Eryk. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying Eryk can't be fast, but I don't think he can maintain it. I'm just gonna be there, and be there, and be there. When you're covering up, I'm there. You know, when you run away and turn around, I'm there. When you look up, I'm there. Yeah, when you blink, I'm there. Like, I'm just gonna be there the whole time. Like, I've evolved so much since the Kevin fight. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm the boogeyman.
Looking forward to seeing it. Best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you. Sweet. I'm looking alright on camera though. Still rolling. Yeah, sorry. I'm looking alright, man. Damn.
The weight cut, Joel.
Pick up the barber.